go live.
And now it should start going
Yeah,
live.
you can start.
I need to stop doing my awkward pause after I hit go live.
This is down to 28. This is down to 24.
Well, that's convenient because I just hit go live, so we're already live. So, hey everyone, our batteries are about to die. I'll change them in a moment.
Oh, no, you can keep talking. I'll change while you're talking.
So, yeah, sorry for that awkward pause just then, but hi guys, welcome to today's live stream. Happy Friday. Hope you're all having a good week and hope that everyone else in the world's enjoying going outside again. We're a little bit jealous. We received a question from, I'm pretty sure his name was Sasha. I hope his name was Sasha.
Which one? What one are you on?
I'm not sure actually.
Oh, come on.
I don't know which one.
Oh my God.
I think
Did this just wobble?
I think I'm on that one. If you can change that one.
Oh my God.
I'm great at my job. So we received a question from Sasha on YouTube and he said, hello Peter and Beck. The more I watch on YouTube about business, the more I'm confused and worry. Some say to write contracts but do not explain everything we should include in a contract. Peter Hurley F Stoppers once said he has charged a license fee per image. He keeps the copyright of the image but rents out some images. They pay for the number of clicks on the website. Sorry, Peter's changing batteries and he threw me off. And when their rent for the use of the photo runs out, they have to pay again if they want. Another time they sell the usage and copyright for digital use or for billboards, advertising, etc., but doesn't explain the real difference when to charge the fees. Do you ever sell your copyright, Peter?
Yeah, if someone wants to buy copyright, but I'll be back in on that. If somebody wants to buy copyright, your batteries are done. I will sell copyright. Sorry.
Sorry, Peter will join us shortly. And hey, everyone joining us. Sorry for this really awkward fumble of a start. You'd think we'd be good at live streams by now. No, we are. We're good.
Sorry, I needed to charge the batteries because...
Not charge them, just change them.
Change them. Well, I need to put those ones on charge, otherwise you'll run out. Oh,
people are saying hi to us, by the way.
Hi to us. Yeah, pricings are massive. That's why we're doing this pricing such a big thing about any business. But the very first question is, yes, if one of my clients wants to buy a copyright, I'm happy to sell them copyright, but it costs them a fortune. From a standard commercial shoot where they've paid for the studio hire, my time, the gear, paid the model, they're going to be looking at between $2,000 and $5,000 to have copyright for that image, so they own that image. Yeah. And there is a few companies, they're normally larger corporations like a Coca-Cola or one of those, which that image, even though I will sell them a usage right, an exclusive usage right, which means I can't let anybody else have that image or use that image. They still want to have that control thing. And I've heard that one of the whiskey companies in Australia, I think, paid recently sort of $50,000 or $60,000 for have copyright and ownership of that image. Sorry, we've got a builder who's decided to work next door today.
It's okay, I don't know if other people
can't hear it.
I don't know.
What are you doing with the cables? Anyway.
Oh, my foot got caught.
But I'm now going to go back to the start. When you're starting off a business, you might have been a part-time photographer, maybe doing the odd wedding or funeral. I think they don't really employ photographers for funerals, do they?
Pardon?
I've never done funeral photography, so I don't think it's something that happens.
No.
But for say weddings and births or whatever, families, any of those things, a lot of people might start off as a part-time and they use it to buy gear. So they might shoot a wedding every 6 months and it buys them a new lens or something. Lots of people I know will start off as photography a hobby and fall in love with it and want to make it their job. But what they don't realize is the reason that they love photography, there's no pressure, it's an out, it's something you can do as a hobby.
It's a distraction.
It's a distraction, and there's no pressure for you to actually
make money from it.
Or supply someone with something.
Yeah.
There's no pressure on you. You can go out and shoot pictures, especially stuff like landscape.
Yeah.
You can just go out and shoot pictures, and
then you get to travel to awesome places.
Yeah, and you have
awesome
fun.
landscapes.
And if you accidentally destroy a hard drive, or your memory card fails, or something stupid happens, you've just lost some of your images. It has not really life or death.
Yeah.
But the second you go commercial, now you have headaches and stresses and grey hair and aging young and putting on weight and drinking too much. You don't have many grey hairs yet.
There's some green.
So I get the question a lot of the time asking me sort of how do I make the transition from I've got a really good IT job, which that's what I hear the most of, so that's why Beck's laughing, and I want to move into something more creative. And my answer is cut IT back to 3 days a week. So it covers all your overheads, all your costs. You've got no pressure, you just have fun with your photography. And if you make something, you'll enjoy your photography so much more, and you won't bring the pressures of trying to run a business off a hobby.
Yeah.
But if you're like me and want to make my hobby my job, so every day is not like work.
It feels like fun.
It feels like fun. It doesn't start off that way. You've got to go through 5 to 10 years of hard work, like any business. And it doesn't matter if you were starting a new brand of breakfast cereal, or you were going to make a new bracket for a wall, or whatever. Business is business. You need to, number one, have a unique product that people want to buy. So you can't, if you're the same as everybody else, the only way you're going to sell is by being cheapest. You can build a business model of doing something super efficient and being cheap, and people want to book you for that. Sorry.
Oh no, this just kind of leads into his next part of the question, because his first part of the question was about like making a contract and stuff.
Yeah, I'll get into contracts at the end.
But he also then said in his second part, sorry to interrupt you, but another YouTuber has a chart sheet where you add up all your time, expenses on travel, and how much your monthly bills are, your equipment, and add that together, and then that's how you work out, like you look at your overheads basically, and that's how you work out how much you should charge. But he said that the amount to charge always seems very expensive. But I've heard you say that time and time again, you're never going to get anywhere by being the cheapest. People are going to book you just because you're the cheapest.
Unless you've got a business model set up to be able to do mass-produced stuff. And I looked at it a long time ago, that we could do things like shoes, and we could do set shoe shoots for 1 week a month. And we'd get all the shoe companies to send their stuff in here, we'd do a batch shoe shoot. We worked it out that we could actually make very good money at $1 a photo, and give them super high quality shot on Hasselblad, fully retouched, supply it back to them, 3 different angles, so there's 3 different photos if they wanted more. And yes, but who wants to sit there taking shoes for 8 hours a day just going click, move, click, move?
Yeah,
it's
boring.
not. But if you're doing this to make money, we worked a business model that it would work great. In Australia, we had a company who specialised in doing e-commerce, and people would just ship clothes in, they would organise everything, shoot it and send it back out. But as soon as anything changed in the economy, they went under. They didn't have any headroom to allow that. They had to be shooting 8 hours a day, pretty much 7 days a week for their model to work. But back onto where I was going. So to start off with any business, you need to have something unique, or something that the client is going to want to buy off you.
Yeah.
Then you need to price it according to the marketplace that you're aiming at. So once you've decided what that is, and even if you're starting out, you still have to go and decide, who am I going to market? Like, who are going to be my clients? Right? And am I unique? No, I'm just a photographer. I haven't built up my name yet. So maybe I need to knock off some price because nobody knows me. I have to prove myself. I need to build a folio, build up your business. But it's really important you sit down with an accountant and carefully work out what your overhead is. And I can tell you that my overhead is $400 a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So if we sit down because of some virus that doesn't allow us to work,
that's still your overhead.
It's still my overhead.
Yeah.
If we are traveling overseas to do workshops or to do work or so much, my Melbourne overhead still exists. So when I travel to Europe, we've got my overhead, which is my overhead to look after my business. And then I have an additional overhead of airfares, transport, all the stuff for traveling.
Wine fund.
Beck's wine fund. Yeah, that's about 800 a day. But so it's those things that I know these are horrible businessy type of things, but if you want to survive, you need to understand these things. You really have to understand it costs you this much to just break even. So you then have to work out your rates to allow that. So my next split down is I have a realistic figure. How many days of paid work do I think I can get a week? So I've worked out my overheads is 400 a day, and if I say, well, I reckon I'm safe to say I can guarantee myself 4 days a week or 2 days a week. So if I just said 2 days a week, I've already got to look at, I've got to cover 4 days of $400 a day and make that revenue in 2 days. And then on top of that, then I need to pay myself some money. So that's just overheads without my own
money
costs.
Yeah.
So once you get to that and you start getting to figures that you might work out that it works out that you're going to cost $1,500 a day, you're going to go, oh shit, nobody's going to pay that to me. Nobody's going to pay me this, they don't know me. $1,500 a day is a lot of money. How am I going to start a business? Well, you've got to find a way of, all right, so maybe I can get somebody's work done in half a day, which would normally have taken a day, and now I have to do 4 half days a week instead of 2 full days a week, and to get that same money coming in. But that's just called business. With things that there's so many things with photography and that which the world's changing, and it really depends in what country you're in to how these work now. So we have things like usage rights. So my standards.
I'm pretty sure the guy who asked this question was from Russia, and I don't know about Russia.
Yeah, I've got no idea.
I have no idea what they're.
So if I just base it on, because I do fair bit of work throughout Europe, America, and Australia, I understand roughly their sort of way things work. So in Australia especially, on a big commercial job, we charge an hourly rate for our working. There might be a studio hire in there, might be equipment hire built into that as well. Then outside of that, the next stage is in the retouching side of things. So we either do it in-house. With us, we either do it in-house or they take the unretouched file and have their own graphics department work on it. So we don't charge for that. When we're quoting, we can either supply a usage rate based on the original tender they put out for us to quote on, which might say we want to use this on 5 shop window fronts for 2 years, we want to use it on social media, we want to use it, and this is how many images we're going to use, and this is all separate to the model's fee. And we will put in...
This is just your fee?
This is just my fee.
Yeah.
I can't charge out for the model because it'll go through a modelling agency or her management.
But then even agents will work out like usage, and
they'll have their own
whole thing with them. Yeah.
Sometimes the odd occasion I do get a lazy company that just wants me to supply everything. So then I have to talk to the agency, get a fee off what their usage for the model's picture. Anyway, so we come up with a final fee based on the usage that they've told us, and then it's my fee, then the usage fee and the model fee. That becomes the cost of that campaign for how they said they're going to use it.
Yeah.
The other thing I do with a lot of my e-commerce companies, so these are the companies that don't have shop fronts and they're pretty much selling online, or they're selling their product to other stores, but they're not supplying merchandise, and they're not supplying posters or banners or anything in store. So they'll do all their own promotion, and when someone gets in a store they go, oh, this is Kiss Kill, I love this, and so forth. So with that, quite often I will supply them internet usage for 3 years built into the cost of what my day rate or whatever the rate was. So they don't have to worry about that usage fee.
It's already like.
Then if I can give them a ballpark, if what they were doing went off and now they're putting it on the sides of buses, this is sort of the rate we would charge for that price. Contracts, yeah, it's very important. Look, a written paper with a signature on is a contract. So the simple thing of sending off a quote to someone and someone accepting it without even signing, just sending you an email saying, I accept this quote, is a contract and will stand up in court. But there's always sleazy mongrels who try and twist things around. So you've just got to start getting a bit streetwise, especially when you're dealing with entrepreneurial type companies. And I got burnt many years for about $40,000 by, I'm happy to say their name, Blur Optics, who are a company who did distributing of big name brands in Australia, like all the realest biggest sunglasses brands.
Oh, is that why we have all those glasses in the wardrobe?
No, that was another glasses manufacturer. Don't deal with glasses manufacturers. That was a different dodgy one. But anyway, they did this work and I put in a quote and the letter came back. I did all the work, and when it came around to payment, the owner said, well, I didn't give her permission to agree to do this job.
What?
Yep. Even though they used the pictures and they used them everywhere, and even though I got a message back from him at the end of it, amazing campaign, love your work.
So horrible.
Then when it came the overdue contact, we never gave you permission to take these. The budget's way out of what we arranged for. We'll give you this much money.
So you're saying it's probably better to always get a signature and make contracts?
No, just a dodgy person.
Oh, okay.
I should have picked up. It was a big contract. I thought it was a big window into some very big brands like Oakley, Hasselblad, all of those. And I did get back. I contacted each of those brands and said they could not use my pictures anyway. Because it hadn't been paid for. So they had to pull all my work off their own sites. So. And I don't think he exists anymore, so dodgy people fall over.
That's good. We are starting to get some questions from people. Sorry to.
No, it's good. Did that answer his contracts?
I think so.
Contracts, the contract side of things is model contracts, all of those type of things. You've just got to search whoever in the country you're in. Like in Australia, we did have the Institute of Professional Photographers, but you can pretty much Google search and find good standing contracts for model usage, all of those things online. And then I just took my ones I found online, took them to a solicitor who reworded them to suit my business.
Well, even like I've had people emailing me asking me for the model release that we use, and like we don't even really use. Like
we don't use
commercial,
it for commercial work. We have to,
but for normal stuff. And to be honest, I just googled like model release, and there's heaps of them. I just googled like model release Australia. So as long as you look up a contract that's
it's quite funny how many times we get an email and Beck goes, "Oh, I'll Google it and give them the answer." Like they could have Googled it.
Actually,
shouldn't tell them your secrets.
No, that is like one of my biggest secrets. I'm just the Google queen. There was just one part that you were already touching on that Sasha did ask about giving a client, like about retouching fees. Like he's seen like people do have a separate price for retouching. I think you should have a separate price for retouching. Like.
Depends. Look, I have what I say to my clients. My daily rate will supply a usable image.
Yeah.
Which means I've got to do some global work, which means do some adjustments in Photoshop or in RAW, which is a global thing. I can make an action and apply to all the pictures they pick.
But when you've got to like go in and actually start retouching
if I have to remove a dust spot, I can do that globally, because in my RAW, the dust spot's going to be in the same spot most of the time. In fact, I shouldn't have that. I should have removed that during the shoot.
Yeah.
But if there was a crease in a dress, that is not what I call global work. If it's a pimple on the face of a model, if it's a stray hair, that I charge out at $2.20 an hour on top of those rates. So we have a set fee that we will supply a correctly color balanced and exposed image to what they're after within the cost of our contract. But then anything above that, which is not global, which means each individual image needs to be treated, we charge $2.20 an hour. look, the way we work with our clients, it's never that big a fee for retouching, because we sort of work with them on set. That's got a crease in it. You're better off to steam it out because it's an hour's work to Photoshop it. So we fix most of our problems on set. We don't do the let's fix it later thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was just still with retouching. He said if he gives a client a photo without retouching, maybe it'll make his photography not look as nice if they post it. Well, I know you don't allow any of your
I just put up a blog of straight out of camera, like didn't even go into RAW.
Yeah, but like if you were doing a campaign, I don't think you would, I don't know.
No, if the client's paying, they can have what they pay for.
Okay, no, fair enough.
Well, active creatures.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Right, so their whole campaign is not retouched. Love affair clothing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess
it right
so,
on the day.
I guess more so if you're unretouched, if you're ashamed of your unretouched photography and you need Photoshop to make your photography look better, maybe you need to be working more on making your photos look better as you take them.
Yeah, put a little bit. No, that's same as that tutorial we did with Shay for Asur, where we did your very first filming shoot. We didn't save me the.
No,
you
it wasn't
lost me
first. My first one was
Julia.
The Julia.
All right, but it was the first one that you didn't save the camera gear properly. So that one was pretty much straight out of camera, and we did some really one light harsh contrast, but we set it up in a way that we knew that it was going to be able to be used without heavy retouching costs.
True. Well, I think that answers what Sasha had, I think. I know we can probably still come back to that anyways, but to say hello to everyone joining us live while you've been listening to Peter ramble, so unlike him.
It's too early, we can't drink.
Yes, we can. I'll get in trouble, but it's fine. We will say hi to everyone. Robert said he's seen us use the big heaters in the studio in the winter on here and Inspire, which everyone should subscribe to. Thank you. How do we keep it cool in the summer?
Fans.
We have fans. We've got gigantic fans, and they're...
It gets a bit noisy, but...
There is an Inspire with Natasha. I don't know if you can hear the fans, but that was a 40-degree day, so we had the fans going like crazy. It's
just air circulation is normally enough. With high ceilings, and we can open this place up, but the cost, the quote to put a reverse cycle air conditioning system in this place was about $40,000 to $60,000, and they said it would cost us around about $20 to $30 a year to run it. Okay. So it just wasn't. The cost was just putting us up, and we really never had a complaint from the clients. I even did a commercial shoot that 48-degree day where we had that big fire was on the Saturday. We did a commercial shoot that morning for a motorbike company and a model. Nobody complained. We just put some fans on and everyone was comfortable.
It's crazy. But we were running the 5-day workshop, not this year, last year, and it was a really hot day. And I remember people thinking it was like way too hot, but I think that's because we had so many people in here that they were just like, oh my God.
Yeah, and I think the doors were shut because it was windy and humid,
That was horrible, but other than that, it's pretty manageable.
We just gave them beer, didn't we?
Yeah, I think that was our solution. Here's a nice cold beer. All of a sudden everyone was happy. Eric has said that he knows we use masking tape for the models to cover with instead of the speciality products. I assume like nipple, like the proper like nipple covers.
Yeah, the stuff you can buy from.
Is there a reason aside from cost? I think it is just cost and.
No, some of them aren't that good. Well, some of the brands that come out of bra shops, they're like a 4-leaf clover type of thing, and it's shiny.
Yeah, actually a lot of them are shiny. And
with the mats that we use, it's really easy to retouch that little bit of tape out. And I think in my tutorials on Inspire shows how quick and easy I can remove that.
Yeah.
In fact, I can remove that tape easier than I can remove a nipple because the nipple's dark, the tape's light. But with a lot of the things that come out from bra shops, they're normally shiny, which gives me another problem. They're expensive as hell, and they don't really stick that well. I've never
had problems with them because I use them when I go out to like clubs and stuff. But I've never had a problem with them sticking. But I do just know they're really expensive. Whereas a roll of masking tape will last us forever and it's so cheap.
Katie, when we shot her in Brisbane, she had, and I think that was $8 for that too.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, so that's why. And look, the masking tape's sticky.
Maybe I'm in the wrong end. Maybe I need to get into nipple cover.
Why don't we just cut masking tape into circles and sell them?
Oh gosh, we could, but yeah, that's the reason for that.
And we can doubly use it as a spot on the ground.
That as well. It's dual purpose. Are expenses for travelling included in the fee?
Yes.
I do include, like if I'm quoting,
Commercial
especially, I believe in, especially if we're running overseas workshops, I've got to adjust the price of that to, I've got to sit there and work out how much
the mud map. You hate doing the mud maps.
I hate doing it. Peter's bad with words, I'm bad with numbers, and I've got to sit there and make a full-on spreadsheet of what it's going to cost us to travel and stay and
Ubers, accommodation, food,
all
alcohol,
of that, and
which
then
is normally the highest on the list, travel.
I've got to build all of that into it, and so that is why the overseas workshops do cost more than the Australian ones, because we've got to figure out our travelling expenses.
I think last Europe trip was 52,000 in cost, wasn't it, something, or 40 something? It just costs a lot of money to travel and run the workshop. So
yes,
and it's even like studio hire. We charge studio hire for this place.
Yeah.
On big commercial work, because if I didn't have this, I'd be still charging studio hire somewhere else. I charge gear hire on very big jobs because there's lots of commercial photographers out there that pretty much own a laptop.
Often, apparently.
I'm clipping, am I?
Apparently.
Why don't you turn me down a little bit?
I don't know how to do that.
Don't know how. Well, I'll just drop this lower. Oh, this is clipping badly. See, can't you see up there?
No, I wasn't, because I was...
Yeah, it wasn't. I'll turn that down a touch. Let's see if that helps. See, it's clipping bad.
Sorry, everyone.
Do we know which one's me?
I think you're the first one.
You're on that one?
I'm pretty sure.
So is that clipping now? Clip, 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 clip. That's better. I think that fixed me. If I'm too soft, just yell out, I'm too soft.
Sorry, and I'm sorry that I'm so behind and I only just noticed this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still clipping.
Yeah, people are saying it's distorting.
Both or just me?
No, just you.
Well, I've pulled it down to half. You're soft-spoken. I can't help it, I get excited. Yeah, it's still pushing up heaps. Jab. Oh, that must be you. Test 1, 2, test.
There you go.
Test. Yeah, so I've got to put about there. Is that better?
I think
That's
so.
better. Cool.
Sorry, let me scroll down to the bottom and see what people are saying. Yeah, it's better now. Yeah, people are saying it's better.
You're clipping now.
But I'm nice and gentle.
You're gentle. Right, just yell if we're clipping.
And sorry, I'm a little bit behind.
We charge to hire out this place.
Yep.
We charge more money here as charge out for big things. It's just like some of the big photographers in Australia actually don't own a studio, don't own any camera gear. A lot of them just have a laptop and a hard drive. They turn up, everything is hired in, they shoot it, they travel the world like that. Cuts their costs down for carrying, and it cuts their daily expenses down. The client pays for everything to do with the shoot. And that's quite common.
I didn't know that. Thank you. I learned something today.
Cool.
What field of business is the hardest one to work with, in your opinion? Clothes, glasses, cars?
Cars is really hard now because most of the big car companies do it all in-house digitally because they can get such a good result digitally. Hobbyists and that, a lot of them are happy with their iPhone photo of their car. I
was going to say, I feel like food would be classified as that as well, because so many people just take food photos with their iPhone. Yeah,
a lot of restaurants and that, the cost of having a food photographer come in.
Yeah.
It's, with the good iPhones these days, you can actually take, especially if you put in portrait mode or something, get that shallow depth of field. I think all sides of photography stuff. I think fashion is disgustingly bad now.
Oh yeah, because it's all boring e-commerce.
Well, there's no editorial, it's all advertorial. It's really hard for you to stand out because you can't, your style is not used, it's a magazine style, and I think in general business is just hard with anything. I'd still say things like wedding is most likely the easiest area to get in because people get married all the time, baby photos.
People are always popping kids out.
Yeah, you've still got to be good at that. There's a fair bit of travel, but now every man and his dog who has an iPhone camera thinks they're a travel photographer and can do their blogs. And a lot of this stuff is going to blogs, so it's not even going into magazines. It's going to blogs, online. Which, there's one thing in the world is if you find a way to make a quick buck, someone else will see you making a quick buck and come up and compete against you. So there is no quick buck. Yeah. It's called hard work. It's building up a brand.
But I'm a millennial, so I don't know what hard work is. I'm joking, making fun of myself.
Did you watch the news last night? It had all about you millennials and lack of work. Ida Buttrose said so.
Who? Oh, I think I've heard of her.
You think you've heard of her?
I think so. Someone thinks that model releases need to apply by the country location as laws can be different. Yes, I did mention this before. That please look up like your own laws in your own country and don't just take what we're saying in Australia as gospel because it might be different depending on where you are located. What do you do for your models for them to move to Germany? Is that Tisha moved? Well, she didn't move there, but Tisha's in Germany at the moment.
Yeah, she got a boyfriend.
Yeah, but Tisha's in Germany. I'm jealous. Yeah. I'll move to Germany if you guys will accept me. I will gladly leave Australia.
I'll pay for her to leave.
I will gladly go to Germany. Take me, please.
In fact, no, I'll go. You can stay here.
No, I want to go. Do you retouch photos every single day?
Most days.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, without this downing, with the whole, we're in Melbourne, we're in the second stage of stupid lockdown because of stupid people, but I'm trying not to, on weekends, I'm trying to have weekends to myself because otherwise I'm getting bad headspaces or I'm finding stuff I want to retouch.
Yeah.
So not so much retouching for work, I'm retouching for myself.
Yes.
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 Like I did one last weekend, which didn't need any retouching. Well, it took me an hour to find the photos, and I decided I'm going to leave them straight out of camera. They're even in colour. So it's the Audrey blog that's on my blog page.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember you changed it to colour, and you were like, oh, actually.
No, I opened it up out of. I just dragged it straight
onto... Oh, that's right, it opened into colour and you were like, oh, actually.
It opened in colour and thought, I'm not touching anything, I'm just going to use these exactly how they were shot because they had that beautiful orange teal colouring.
I love colour though. You should take more colour photos.
No, I shouldn't.
Oh, one of my favourite questions. What is the possibility of making a video shooting with Capture One?
All right, we get asked this a lot.
A lot. That's why I am laughing because I have to answer this question, I think, almost every day or every other day.
We did something recently with Rara with It's Not About the Gear, and I tethered some Sony gear to Capture One, and it's taken us a year to get that to work. It only finally worked like commercially viable once Catalina came out on laptops, and it stopped a lot of the crashing problems I was having with the Sonys and Capture One.
Yes.
But the reason I don't do tutorials on Capture One is because I don't use it. So why would you want someone to do a tutorial on a program he doesn't use? Because it doesn't suit my style. It's not like it's a bad program.
It's just not how you work, and it's like if you want to learn how to use it, wouldn't you find someone who does use it and who is really good at it?
And getting the most out of that program for what that program is good at, which it's great for like landscape and still life and architecture. Anything that's you want that digital sharpness and that super.
But it's not
I'm a film photographer. I prefer a bit of noise, a bit of grain, and I found my Hasselblad. That's one of the reasons I love my Hasselblad is the focus software, so I can get that grainy, that sort of feel that I like, which I cannot get in Capture One. We tried a dozen times to get it. We even tethered once when we were in Milan, and Beck goes, "This is disgusting."
It was so bad.
She wouldn't let me shoot anymore. We had to change program because she hated how it was looking. I agree, it was.
Yeah, it made my skin look really bad.
And I don't need to import with these Capture Ones, and you've got to like import pictures in, and then it's categorized within. If I use ACR, Adobe Camera Raw, I can just drag a picture straight over Photoshop. It opens in ACR. It didn't import it, so I don't have to have files tagged to different places. And ACR now, it's still not my favorite program in the world, but I can get so much closer to my Hasselblad, and I can actually achieve my look. I just have to do a couple extra layers in Photoshop just to get my haloing effect to work a little bit stronger. But I can still get a halo to start in ACR. I cannot get the halo to start at all in Capture One. So it's just, don't ask me to teach you how to ride a motorbike because I don't know how to.
Well, I think that's just the thing that kind of I just keep reverting back to is you don't use Capture One, so why are you the best person to teach someone how to use Capture One? Like, it's not a program you use.
I was going to sit down and do a picture, the same picture through 3 different programs. The problem is Capture One won't let me do a Hasselblad file, and Focus won't let me do a Sony file. So I can't do the same file
thing,
out of 3 different.
Well, he had the idea, so that was nice.
I had an idea, but at the end of the day, I think if you like Capture One and it suits your workflow and it suits the way and you get the look out of it, just find the Capture One gurus and learn off them. But I find Focus for my Hasselblad and ACR for my Sonys. I'm extremely happy with using ACR from the Sonys. I've built up over a few years my look within there, and most people can't see that big a difference in my finished retouch file from the Hasselblad to the Sony on the internet. They would see it on print.
They would. Stephen has asked, how do you track, this is actually a good question, how do you track image rights? For example, if you have a 3-year agreement, do you check these at the end of their term, or do you just trust they'll honour their agreement?
If we've got an image right agreement, we will have diaries marked in, and it'll normally come up to a month before to send out a pre-invoice for extra use if they want to at a discount.
That's good.
But we had one dodgy advertising agency that said they weren't using it, and then we found it in a shop, and the shop said, "Oh, our bad, it was a mistake."
That just reminded me, I need to chase up, there's another dodgy clothes company that's using your Natasha red dress photo.
Yeah, it's a Chinese company. Don't respect copyright.
I still want to get it pulled down.
You
Not
can't.
okay.
Well, it's the same as
the summer's
picture on a t-shirt. They said it's pixelated. They've actually used 1,000 pixel, these people's comments, their t-shirts are really badly pixelated. It's really easy to have the thumbnail looking nice, but yeah, good luck printing
I'm gonna take today's rage and channel it into this.
China and India is really hard. You do not have a leg to stand on. You can't stop them doing anything. So I pretty much, you got to look at, you think about companies like Chanel and Versace and Louis Vuitton. Look at all their knockoff gear which comes out of those countries. They can't even stop it. So what hope have I got to stop it? Where are we up to with questions?
Hang on, I'm coming back. Someone also asked, can they get a Beck t-shirt? Yes, you can. They're on the workshop's website. I'm pretty sure I've got a link in the description, as I do on all of our videos. I have it in there.
But what they can't buy is?
I do have it in the description, what they can't buy.
What can't they buy?
Can't buy the t-shirt I'm wearing.
Yeah.
No one can get this one because if I move this down. I got this specifically made. It was supposed to be ready for Peter's birthday, but It wasn't ready in time, but I think I'm really funny, and I was killing myself laughing for like at least a week. It is, it's hilarious, it's so funny, and now look how funny we look sitting here with like, you're wearing, like, this is funny, this is what I envisioned. I'm hilarious, I should do stand up. I can distort your face as well. Oh my god. Yeah, people are saying sound is better. That's good. I'm glad.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm really...
And he's really fussy about sound as well, so... do I wear this when I'm out and about? No, I don't. I just only wear it for filming, just because it's funny. And... people are saying the sound's too low. I think someone said it was too low.
No, sneak up a little bit. You just peaked then. That's why I just brought it down a touch more.
Oh.
Maybe you're whispering too much.
Sorry, I should be checking with headphones, but you know, I'm trying to talk at the same time as well. I normally listen to the sound when Peter's ranting, but this has been a bit more of a conversation than a Peter rant. Rob said, thank you so much for the grunge wall video. Took him about 4 tries, but he finally got a good looking wall.
Well, yeah, nothing wrong with that. So I still want to do another 1 or 2 coats on ours yet. So yeah, it takes a little bit of time to get the exact look you want just by going back and doing a little bit more each day.
Yeah, lots of people are saying you're too low. Sorry, this is what happens when I...
don't do your job.
No, when I don't read questions. I'm sorry, everyone.
I'll read your question. I'm answering, you just read. Can you talk?
I'm talking now. In the photo, what is quality for you? I don't know.
Sorry, what is what?
You just said in photo, what is quality for you?
Quality depends on the photo. It really, if I'm doing something that I want to have like old filmic look, I don't want it too high a contrast. I want really smooth gradients. I don't want it too sharp. I want it a little bit grainy. That doesn't mean low quality to me. That's the quality of the image I was trying to create. It's quality. I think the best way to put quality, there's on some of the big companies in the world, you'll see these group of ticks down the side, normally in red, and it's a standard that they can reproduce what they're doing. And I think a quality photo is something that's not a one-off fluke. It's something that can be reproduced in the way of, there was a reason all of those things were there and the photographer had control over those reasons. You don't have to like their style or their look. And especially the amount of photographers I hear commenting on fashion magazines, especially magazines like say Oyster or Frankie, and those saying, oh, it just look like amateur photography photo. And I say to them, go out and try and do it yourself. And you watch how hard it is to actually to recreate that look time and time again. So yeah, quality is more that being able to consistently create something. So you can do this person and a year later do that person and they have the exact same feel about them, which means you understand what you need to do to get that. It's like having a rustic wall. You know, it might look like it's a low quality piece of painting, but it took hours, it took twice as long to get that rustic look than it would have to paint it like a clean wall.
True.
I think
Very
that
true.
was a really confused way of saying it.
That's fine, you got there in the end, that's all that matters. Jimmy was looking through, you get this a lot, Jimmy was looking through the work on your website and most of the portraits are of women. Seen this, not complaining, but seen this is because of personal work. Have you considered working with male models?
Commercial, I work with male models, and I've said this a lot of times that I find male models won't let go. They're very, very, very insecure. I cannot get eyes out of them. And when I do nail a picture I really like, the male model will look at the picture and go, oh, my eyebrow's crooked, can I do it again? And it might sound funny, but after I said this one day, we had a male model in here and the very first thing he said was his eyebrow was crooked.
Oh my God.
So it's just that there's no, I don't know, I don't get the gratification. Male dancers, I love shooting male dancers because it's not about their faces.
Oh, we've got Jackson coming in.
We've got Jackson coming in soon too.
Exciting. I'm excited
so
about that.
with that, and look, I love shooting, but with my own work, I find it very, very hard. If I take a picture of Beck, she runs around stupid like a little girl, snapping the picture with her phone and things like that. That's sort of like gratitude, and that's sort of like this feedback that makes me feel good.
You're like, I took a good photo and I've made this person happy. I
don't ever get that with shooting a male. They're always, oh, my eyebrow's crooked.
Yeah. Men are weird. Men are complicated.
Complicated, yeah.
And I say that women are complicated. We're really simple. We're so easy. It's men's as confusings. What do you do when you find yourself in a photographic rut?
Drink, no. I only get into ruts when I don't have somebody who's inspiring me to do something. So if I get a pretty girl next door walk in, I'm instantly in a rut because it's just a pretty girl next door. No matter what I do, it's a pretty girl next door. It's going to be a Marsha Brady. It's just going to be that pretty girl. And no matter what I do, it's only a pretty girl. So yeah, that gets me in a rut. But as soon as I get someone with any type of character, I don't get in a rut. We start throwing things at them in the way of clothing, things like that. And all of a sudden something will jump and start to talk. And in fact, my problem at the moment is I've got too many things I want to do. I'm struggling to find the people to do them with because the world used to have this glut of fashion models, and I love shooting fashion models. And unfortunately, with e-commerce coming along, we've lost our fashion models. So we've lost our dangly, weird, awkward, pelvis forward, hunched back.
Talking about me again.
And it's a type of model that a lot of my storyboards are written to build on, as the beautiful fashion-esque curves. What are you doing?
I was figuring out what camera we're on so I can change batteries.
So yeah, I get in ruts, but I normally say to people it's no different to writing or doing music and things like that. You'll get into a rut if you try and force it. The trick is not to force it. If you can just free yourself and just let things happen and not try and force something to happen, all of a sudden the weirdest stuff just happens and it works. You're happy pushing buttons. You got another question for me? Or you're just going to dance around?
No. Do you think the camera raw updates are better?
Don't know. I found any change is a bad thing because you get so used to everything being in certain places. If anything, I'm actually not finding any difference to the actual picture. I do like the clarity and shadow feel even more in ACR now. It's got that smoothness that you can use as localized contrast without sharpening. The black and white area I don't think has changed much at all. I'm still taking it through, I can't do my red, green, blue channel, so I've just got to play with other things on it. So if I have trouble getting my look in ACR, I just take it in the photoshopping color where I have red, green, blue channels. But yeah, I haven't noticed a major difference in just a little bit of a learning curve to relearn how things are laid out.
That was a nice time filler while I was doing that. Would you mind to show on Inspire how to shoot a car or motorcycle with your big light on the rails, or even with cheap strobes?
Yeah, we can do motorbikes. Can you just put in the list?
Yeah.
Cars or yeah, okay. Motorbikes is most likely easier for the way the studio's set up now. With cars, I need to black out this whole studio. I don't need to do that with a motorbike. So, and there's plenty of bike riders that would. I can just ring up one of the bike magazines I'd run in.
I just added it to the list, so
all right.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, cool. That's easy.
Cool bananas. No, I hate it when that happens. It jumped. All right, there we go. Lenses with unique look and unique techniques.
Love them.
No, they're will persevere the VR revolution. What?
I don't know, you're reading it. You expect me to read? What one are you talking about?
Lenses with unique look and unique techniques will persevere the VR revolution, I think. But that's about art photography, not necessarily commercial work.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite lenses to use is nearly 120-year-old lens that is really soft and really, really lacking contrast, but that's why I like it. It's got this beautiful milkiness to it.
What are your thoughts on the Hasselblad X1D Mark II? Good price for medium format to Vincent, but maybe start with medium format.
Great price to get into medium format. So from that point of view, 1 to 2, I've only used the 2 once. There's a bit of difference, but the one that I got to lend, it was a demo model. I don't think the firmware was updated properly on it. So I can't give an honest answer because some of the little bugs I had aren't supposed to be in the camera. So
that was because it was a demo.
It was a demo, an old demo. Unfortunately, we don't have many of those cameras floating around in Australia that I can just get one for a month and do something properly with. But it's really hard. I love my H6. I have an X and I like the X, but still, and I love mirrorless. I love mirrorless to bits, but I still find that the images are identical to the H6. So from that side of things, I don't see, there's no difference at all. The new lens, the 80mm 1.9 I think it is, and the new 150, they're both stunning lenses. I'm retouching a picture, one I did on Beck recently, and I couldn't believe how sharp it was without feeling, so I turned my sharpen off, so I didn't have that over sharp feel. It just felt like I had more resolution. I could zoom in more on it. So it wasn't like the sharp was sharper, it just felt like it had better resolution. So I think the new lenses are resolving better for 50 megapixels than the old H's. But yeah, everyone asks me about the Fuji. I don't have time to run around asking people for gear to do reviews because I don't really do reviews. I use the gear a lot.
I haven't got to that question yet. I'm sure it'll pop up soon though.
Yeah, if Fuji wanted to send me out with one to play with, even for me to get time, I don't feel I can give an honest review without using something for a month. Just picking anything, you jump in anybody's car, it feels different when you drive it. You can't really review it compared to what you're used to driving. So I'm not really, I'll tell you stuff that I've used for a while and I love, and I'll tell you stuff that's giving me a problem.
Videos, like.
Yeah. Well, although you're supposed to make, I've heard of a 12-year-old kid that's making like $5 million a year by unboxing. So I might just unbox models.
Can I unbox wine?
There we go. Yeah, but you're not allowed to drink it.
Sure I am. Elton just wanted to say that you are the reason he's a black and white photographer. That's really nice.
Sorry about that.
Paul has the H6 and he noticed the back gets hot during photographing. Is that normal?
Yeah, I've had my back get so hot it's burnt the tip of my nose when it's touched it. No, I'm serious. On a really hot day, I've never had my back overheat. So I've never had a problem where the camera won't work or it faltered. But yeah, it's you basically got a whole computer built into that little box. So the heat's got to go somewhere.
The gentleman who asked about Capture One.
Yep.
He said what he was asking was about Capture One just to see what your developing style looked like in the software, not to teach you how to use the program itself. But you can't get your style because
I can't. The way that they don't use shadow, fill and highlight and things like that in the way that ACR or Focus use it, and I've tried to replicate what I do by maybe bringing in some blacks and then shadow filling to get detail back, but still keeping my black, and it doesn't seem to do that. And again, because I don't have to use it, I haven't spent hours and hours trying to find a way around it.
Yeah.
because I'm really busy and I'd rather write a song and do a new video to a song than play with Look, and nothing against ACR. I used ACR right up until I bought a Hasselblad. So for most of the whole time I was shooting Canon and working in the fishing industry, my early days in fashion was all on ACR. But you look at my pictures then to what they are now, they're chalk and cheese.
Yeah, it's true. Has Hasselblad be bought by DJI likely to have an impact on the future of their tech with respect to your genre?
Yeah, I don't know where the world's going with that. I've got my own views, and I'll be careful because I am an ambassador of Hasselblad. So I'm not. It's more the fact that I see Hasselblad like Ferrari or like Leica. They're an iconic, and I think it's so important that they keep that iconic Hasselblad feel and not just turn it into a digital camera brand. And that's one of the reasons I love the H, because to me it feels like a film camera. It's one of the reasons I don't shoot with phase, because to me a phase feels like a digital camera.
Yeah.
I do things with my Sony to make it feel like a film camera, and yeah, it costs a lot of money. Throw really good Zeiss glass on it.
But it gives you the look that you're after.
It gives me the look I'm after.
Yes. Oh, and I think your name's Mauro, the guy who was asking about Capture What. He said, sorry, his English is so bad. No, it's not. Your English is great. And every time someone apologizes for English, I feel the need to tell them, stop apologizing, because it's not like we can speak another language and you can speak multiple languages. So good on you. And English sucks. English is so hard to learn.
Yeah, we go to Barcelona and everyone apologizes
Sorry,
they can't speak
English.
English.
We're in Spain.
We're in your country. Sorry, we can't speak your language.
And English is a really hard language, so please never feel that you need to apologize.
Well, I can't speak English properly.
Yeah, I know. I can speak sarcasm fluently. What is your take on the future of MF? That's manual focus, yeah? And if Hasselblad will survive into 2030?
I hope they do. I really hope they do. But who knows what's going to happen in the future? We don't even know what's going to happen within a week, especially in Melbourne. The manual focus, I still love manual focus, and I still look. You've got manufacturers like Zeiss who have dedicated manual focus lenses. I do not like fly-by-wire focusing, which is the electronic. You move this, and electronically it's focusing. It's not you moving the lens itself.
How does that even work?
Well, because and problem with is if you move quick, it goes a long way. If you move slow, it moves a small way. Well, I'm used to going back and forth quick and then slowing down to get that point. Well, it doesn't work on electronic focus lenses. So, but at the point I'm at now, I am seriously thinking of selling one of my 100 megapixel Hasselblad and just having 250s, so that future-proofs me for maybe 10 years. So I'm absolutely 100% happy with the next 10 years shooting the gear I have now. The only thing I do want is the new Sony S for video work, but for film work, I'm happy with my Sony A7R3, and I'm 100% happy with my Hasselblad H650. They are what I absolutely love, and they're the look that I use.
I had a gap in my fringe.
You had a gap in your fringe.
I needed to fix my hair.
Sure you don't have a wine over there that I didn't see?
I'm tempted.
I'm
maybe
tempted.
I'll get a beer. Maybe a beer.
A beer. It's we are past 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it's 11. It's acceptable.
If we're in New Zealand, it'd be 2.
That's acceptable.
If you're at Cook Islands, it might be 3.
Acceptable.
Just don't let Jared see you. Maybe Jared's watching.
No, I think he's playing video games. Peter, do you create your own videos like the Rah Rah one? He does. He writes some music as well.
Yeah, I absolutely love doing that. The hardest thing is retraining models to go from stills to a continuous type of storyline.
It's hard.
It is hard. Even Beck knows she can drift lovely with the camera. As soon as I say we're doing video, she freezes. She becomes this little. But yeah, I really enjoy it and actually want to do more video. I do enjoy doing music videos. Unfortunately, a lot of the times We have to work with other people's stupid ideas.
A lot of the time.
Like putting stupid effects over videos.
Yeah. It's fine. Do you ever or still get a bit nervous when you feel like the shoot's going the wrong way?
Oh yeah, especially if it's a paid shoot. Yeah, no, that on a paid shoot, yeah, I might come across as I'm very comfortable in that, but I'm questioning everything I do. Time is money. I need to provide a good image really quickly and make sure that I keep that client for life. So yeah, I put a little bit of pressure on myself. And I think nerves are a good thing. A bit of nerves actually, I think, makes your brain think a bit quicker and make you...
But if you have too many nerves, then you become like a wreck,
like you're different. Yeah, you don't put Breck under pressure. She explodes.
Tay has said, business question. Their cost is $400 a day. They don't have commercial clients anymore and would like to break into regular clients like regular women. How much do they charge?
Well, yeah, but what are these regular women clients going to be doing?
Don't know.
All right, so I'm just going to say regular women just for every day. If you're just talking about going to portrait and just shooting everyday people for something nice going to sit on the wall. I know some portrait photographers making twice the money I make. But it's about you, a lot of their stuff is about upsell, is about the emotion of the selling experience, making them feel good, making the day an experience, getting them to sign on the dotted line while they're still on a high on the shoot, or filling them full of alcohol and champagne and getting them to view the pictures and buying 40 of them. It's that type of thing. It doesn't really cut with the way I work. I can't upsell. It's not something I do or can do well. I did show a photographer many years ago, if I was going to run a portraiture business, this is how I would do it, and that person changed their business pretty much overnight. And it was, instead of doing the whole upsell and trying to create 10 looks in an hour, was to spend that entire hour to make one amazing look which will last a lifetime, but still charge the same amount that you would have for those 10 shots.
Because you're creating something that's like, one amazing thing.
One amazing thing, and it'll be the family heirloom that the grandkids will fight over when you die. Just like when my grandparents passed away, it's a photo I wanted from their house. Well, I think it's pretty cool to have a photo that people actually want.
No, it is.
60 years after it was taken.
I agree, and I wish my grandkids would feel that way about me, but I'm never
You're
going
not
to have them.
having kids. Oh my God. Maybe your grandcats might.
Well, yeah, my cats maybe. They can just like claw at it, maybe sit on it. That's what cats do. Is there a reason that you don't have at least a base of your look set up as presets? Is it just that every image is different and they won't work? Yeah, you treat every image differently.
I treat every face is slightly different. Every day changes. If I'm using ambient light as part of my fill, it's every day. Like today's fairly muted with a bit of sun. We're in different moods every day. So if you're in a real happy mood, you're going to be creating a different look than if you're in a Victoria 2020 July mood. It's having a crack.
I know, it just clicked. Bit slow today. Do you finish? Don't know.
Yeah, you can go on. I was just going to explain that.
Oh no, you can explain it.
Well, I'm in the weirdest headspace I've ever been in. We haven't been in the studio for 10 days or something. Like the only time that's happened was when we're traveling, but I'm still shooting every day.
Yeah, I know. It sucks.
At least I'm shooting this afternoon. We're shooting
your stuff.
My stuff this afternoon, which I'm looking forward to.
Any wonder I'm going loopy as well.
Yeah.
That's right. I think seeing my mum will help me. Anyways, enough about
You ask questions.
Stuff. Does Peter think we will see an affordable full-frame medium format mirrorless camera from any company in the near future?
No. Look, most people, they don't want a medium format size sensor because it's got its own problems. All your lenses just got shorter. Most people want longer lenses. Your depth of field falls off. like amazingly, but that's why I love the medium format and large format, because that depth of field. But when it comes to things like stuff where you want to have big details, that's so much harder to get, and most people can't see the difference between medium format and even APS-C crop, so they're not going
I don't think I can see the difference.
They're not going to be happy with what they've got to put up to get that look. So yeah, it's the people who shoot medium format are a lot of the time people who can see that little bit of difference. I know my commercial clients say there's just something about your photos are different to other, I've had a few clients because they got tight with money, went to cheaper photographers, then they came back and said, yeah, there's just, there's something about your pictures that just give us the look we want. You going to ask questions, or are you just looking?
I know, where did it go? There it went. I am, and this is...
Finish off that other question quickly. I don't know how long medium format will last, because I don't believe both Phase and Hasselblad are in a greatest place for sales at the moment.
Oh, what's a shame.
But they are extremely expensive, that's why.
Yeah, that's why. And the world's kind of like crumbling.
And you can't do them cheap.
No, and the world's crumbling and it sucks and I'm sad. I think I'm definitely going to have a beer. Maybe I'll stop being so emo. Logan noticed in a video, in a studio tour, that you have a rack of your favourite clothing. How often do you shoot the same wardrobe?
All the time. That's why it's on a rack of our favourite clothing. I have series of
people wearing the same thing.
The same thing, because I don't have this hang up that, oh, someone shot this once, you can never shoot this again. A lot of my favourite clothing is like nothing clothing, in the way of it's not putting too much of something in the picture, it's allowing the model to come out of the picture. So as soon as you do crazy clothing, you start to look at the clothing, not the model. I try and use muted clothing to try and show out the model, not the clothing.
It's part of the thing I mention when I'm emailing models as well. I always say, like, bring whatever you want to shoot in with you, but just keep in mind that Peter does prefer like plain, simple clothes because he wants to show off you rather than the clothing. I always point that out to them. Logan says that his closet is a one-use only, shoots it and gives it to the model because he doesn't care to do the laundry.
Well, when it comes to, if we ever have to use underwear from here, it's always the model takes it home.
Yeah, always. We never keep.
But that's more like skin coloured G's and things like that. We just, or if we're going to put a high waist on for a look, and they don't have any, it's always, yeah, here you go. There's your payment for this shoot.
I'm from Arizona. I want to go back to Arizona. I've got friends in Tucson.
I've never been there.
It's really cool. Grand Canyon's sick.
We'll see that. We'll get there in 3 or 4 years when we're allowed out of Victoria.
Would you ever do a critique for your viewers' photos? Peter does not critique other people's work because you shouldn't listen to other photographers. Shoot what you love. Photographer's never going to be your client.
I'm never going to buy it, so why would you care what I say?
Yeah. If you like it, you like it.
And it's like, would you get Metallica to critique Britney Spears? Well, it doesn't, you can't.
I know what you mean.
Everyone's got their own style. Well, you wouldn't, would you? Would you get Justin Bieber to critique
Justin Bieber.
Mandragora?
I love Justin Bieber.
I know you do. That's why I said him.
I'm getting tangled.
Would you stop breaking? Oh my God, your foot's right through there. Ask questions and stop trying to pull computers off the table.
Talking about wide, any recommendations like made in Australia? I'm loving 19 Crimes. 19 Crimes is really good and it's really affordable. It's just got really nice flavour to it.
Yeah, but that's only cheap wine.
Yeah, I know.
It's like $1 a bottle, isn't it?
It's not. It's like
on special, $12 a bottle.
I think on special I've been getting it 2 for. No, with my everyday rewards card, it's been like 2 for $22, I think.
$11 a bottle.
Yeah, but that's on special. It's normally priced on
I'm loving
$16.
Aaron Ridge Shiraz, and it's around about $120 a bottle. If I only drink maybe 2 of them a year.
I like wine from Western Australia. It's really tasty.
I like Hunter Valley.
Hunter Valley.
Hunter Valley. I do like Margaret River.
That's South Australia? No, Margaret River's Western Australia.
Yes.
Geography.
You've been there.
Geography.
You've actually been there.
I have too.
Can't remember any of it.
I drank a lot of wine. We do a video on film. We actually get asked this quite a bit.
How do you want? So I take pictures. You can't see.
Well, I guess if we're going to edit it. But
it's easy. I just pull my digital back off, put my film back on, take a picture. It's exactly the same lighting.
Yeah, like he sets everything up as he would for digital, and then just like.
I've got heaps of film. Like I open the fridge, it's full of film, and I've got an Ecamm scanner that I've used, a flatbed scanner, drum scanner that I use. I did a series of ATEM pictures just straight out of camera off film, but that shoot was also, I was shooting with digital back, and I just unclicked the digital back and clicked the film back on. It's still the same picture, but now I've got a film emulsion and the film sort of contrast built into it. Quite often I don't roll my film up tight to store it, so I get a little bit of leak into it to get the look I like. But I don't think you should treat it separately. It's exactly, doesn't mean that what you're recording onto, everything in front of what you're recording onto stays the same. So your camera settings, all that, it's only what you're recording onto film, or if you're recording onto digital or recording onto video, all these different things you put on the back, it's what's coming in through the front, which is the skill. Interesting. Well, that's my views.
Can you talk about why a B10 is enough rather than a B10 Plus? Oh, I think I can answer this because I answered this the other day. It is because for you and what you like and what you need it to do, and for traveling, the size of it is easier. The B10 Plus is bigger, and you like the B10 because it's compact enough for you to travel with. And it already does everything that you need it to do.
Pretty much. Beck has first-hand experience about how heavy our bags are. When we travel, I've normally got two 32 kilo to go on plane, and I have a sort of backpack bag which weighs 30 kilos, so I try and pretend weighs 10 kilos. And then I have my laptop bag which weighs about 25 kilos over my shoulder. Every little bit I can cut out just cuts me down on, might allow me to take an extra tripod or take something else. And I found that I had the B10 Plus, amazing, more power, great, but I got away with doing everything I need to do on the B10, so that slightly smaller size suits me better. And even when I'm using my voice operated light stand, it's lighter, so her arm doesn't get as heavy and it doesn't start collapsing.
For those who didn't get the joke, I'm the voice operated light stand. Maybe you haven't done the wine operated light stand.
The wine powered light stand is what I should call it.
Paul wants to know if we think there's any chance the Europe workshops will go on this year, or do you think it'll be next year? Well, like, Qantas don't have flights, but I guess Europe's opening, so we could get over there, but if we want to come home, we've got to go into quarantine.
Beck and I have already been talking about, I know that I'm at the point where I'm thinking about just jumping on the plane.
Oh, so am I.
So yeah, look, right this, we had a bit of a talk the other day that we're going to just see what happens by mid-August, and we'll make our decision, because it's not so much Australia, it's Victoria. It's our stupid government who employed Uber drivers to look after infected people. Yeah. So we have a massive outbreak again because of really bad management. I won't get political about this, but if that hadn't happened, we would most likely already be pre-booking workshops again.
Well, we'd be looking at doing Australian workshops.
Australian ones, where that's all been completely destroyed on us.
That's really disappointing.
Apparently it's 3 a.m. in the morning, I guess, in Europe, so it's wine time. I think I am just probably going to crack a beer. How do you find models?
Comedian. I do a lot of scouting for them.
But we also get contacted.
We get contacted, but then I also, if if I've done all my jobs, or even if I just need a break need a little bit of downtime, need to refresh my concentrations, I'll sometimes just sit on Instagram and
look for cute girls.
Look for nice girls.
Yeah.
I normally go through photographers, and I look at other photographers and I look at who they've been shooting with, and that's kind of how I find most of them. Then when I do find them, I go to their tagged photos and I look at their tagged photos. I normally find their friend's profile and I look for a photo of them on their friend's profile, so I get a better understanding of what they actually look like rather than
what they want to look like.
Yeah.
Like a Beck.
Like me. Yeah.
The best friend's not going to face tuner.
No.
But yeah.
I actually know someone who
face tunes their best friends.
No, I'll tell you a story, because actually you know both the people, and someone actually did face tune another person. Anyways, that's fine. Thinking of buying a Milvus lens. Have you tried it?
Milvus, yeah, they're amazing. There's a couple of lenses I've got, and the Milvus version of them is pretty much identical insides. It's only the outside has been more modern. So, yeah, the Milvus has got Zeiss glass on it. Big rap. I know I am an ambassador for Zeiss, but I owned all my Zeiss lenses before I was an ambassador for Zeiss. So I was made an ambassador because I used their lenses, not because I was an ambassador, because I wasn't. But yeah, to me, favourite glass in the world is Zeiss by far.
It is very nice. One last question from Jimmy. How did you PDARs get to your start? Meaning, how did you go from being an advanced amateur to a working professional?
What happened to me is it's not going to happen to you unless you're doing photography in a specialised field. Yeah. I was running a business in the fishing industry. I was a keen hobby photographer. But when I say keen hobby photographer, I never went to any, well, it's pre all social media anyway. Never went to camera clubs, never went to galleries or anything like that. I just loved taking photos. I didn't do any of that camera clubbing stuff. And when my business needed photography for advertising, I just used my own photography. And a magazine in the fishing industry liked it enough to pay me to shoot stuff. So that's how I got my break. Did you break it?
I just heard something.
So yeah, I had an easy break, but then I made my transition from shooting, which was easy. I was just paid as a contract rate to go away for a month and shoot and do things like that. When I wanted to do my fashion photography, I had to start square one. Shoot weddings, parties, anything.
You love doing weddings.
Architecture, real estate.
If anyone's getting married, you should ask Peter to shoot your wedding, because he loves it so much.
Yeah, I just send my assistant out to do it.
I'll just put it onto, I'll put the camera on P for professional.
And put you on W for wine.
I've been in lockdown for too long, I'm actually losing the plot.
You're going to ask questions.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on prints? Is there still something special about black and white Baris paper? I don't know how to pronounce it.
Black and white what, sorry?
This word, this Baris paper.
I don't know. There is something like Beck knows that my man cave is slowly getting covered in.
Your photos.
Right, so wall-to-wall ceiling, everything's getting covered in my photos. Whenever I have to do a print for a client, I'm printing stuff that I can then put up in my own cave. Yeah, there's no question. You have a look at like Tisha's at a gallery of Peter Lindbergh stuff in Germany at the moment. She sent me some shots, and I would die to go there. And when I saw his exhibition, I can't remember where, I just stood and stared at pictures for ages to pick up the qualities of the print. You just don't get that on a computer screen, and because it can be so big, and yeah, prints are still, I love prints.
Like me and my boyfriend have heaps of artwork. Sure, we don't have photography up in our house, but we've got heaps of artwork, and you see it, like we buy it online and you see it online and then it arrives and you're like, whoa, like the detail in this when it's arrived, like it's so different. He also said, should we just accept that small screens are the future? Do you present prints to commercial clients?
No, if a commercial client wants a print. I used to, many years ago, whenever I had a big campaign, I would print the hero shot and get it framed and send it to the commercial client to put up in their boardroom or something. I don't do that anymore because number one, I'm too busy, and number two, half my clients didn't even care about it. They're more in the commercial world, just spit them out. So to them, each campaign was no biggie. It was just a means of end of selling shit.
Peter, can you explain why the Otis glass delivers and why it commands such a large price tag?
Well, if anybody who knows about making glass, it's the amount of time that's spent on the polisher. You know, if that piece of glass is sitting on a polishing machine for a year, we can't do that for nothing. But why it delivers is, number one is you've got a consistency across the glass. So if you want something razor sharp in a corner, fully wide open, the Otis glass does that. But when I did my first test shots, and what I should do is I can actually...
Do you need me to...
Not yet, let me what I can do is actually bring up a couple of pictures, and it was pretty much when the first Otis 85 came out, the distributor in Australia gave me a ring and said, hey, we've got this incredible bit of glass. Can you take a photo of it for us? And I'm just gonna, I thought it'd be in here, but it's not. It's going to be under W for woman. Can you take a photo for us? Because we're not happy with the photos that have been supplied, because we don't believe it's actually showing the type of people we're going to sell to the look of this glass. So they quickly raced out. I had a model in the studio. I just saw it. I thought, well, this is a 1.4 lens, which means let's see what the bokeh's like. Let's shoot it wide open, and they say their stuff is sharp edge to edge. So let's put eyelashes, eyebrows, stuff like that right in the corner of the shot. So shoot it off center. Let's see how sharp this lens is, and I'm really slow at doing this because it's got messed up.
I was going to say, I know who you're looking for, and
that's still a fair. It's round.
It's just after her.
No, it's all right. I'll get there.
Today.
TAY, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, so it'll be down after. It's before. That's it. All this is messed. Thank you, Apple, for messing up all our catalogues.
I fixed it yesterday, though. It was
no,
fine.
you didn't.
It was fine yesterday.
It wasn't fine last night.
It's right there.
There we go.
Sorry, and I'm going to flick it up to... Is it
this won't come up over it, will it?
I don't think so. No, it doesn't.
No. All right, so you'll see this picture here in this. So what I did, I shot it fully wide open. I just took the model outside. We used a bit of bounce, light was bouncing off the studio wall from direct sun, and this was shot, by memory, it was middle of winter. And it was to show off the detail that was in the eye, and that little red thing there.
It was taken on the 20th of December. It was the middle of
summer. So the other one, all right, so I got mixed up. Let me do my, so if I zoom in, it's going to pixel up because this is only a 1080 picture, but if you see there, that red is my car, and we could zoom in on the full-size picture and read the number plate. And you'll notice where I put the picture is in that top corner to show how sharp this lens is from edge to edge. And what I was saying was then in winter, when the 100 came out, bang, the same model happened to be in my studio by a complete fluke. And so I did the same thing. Sat her up in one corner, shot it fully wide open to show how beautiful and sharp this lens was, corner to corner, if you want to use it that way. And then if you want to defocus it, you know that you're going to have an even defocus off. So that's pretty much why.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
There you go. Yellowtail wine. No, it's horrible.
Oh, it's like white-tailed spiders.
It's horrible. What photographers do you like to follow and or ones you'd love to collaborate with?
Collaborate with another photographer? No, nobody. You can't have two artistic people working together and creating.
Yeah.
So I'm just not one of these collaborative person. To me, I have an idea, I see my picture, I don't want anybody else to mess up my picture, that's not my picture.
You're a selfish person.
I am selfish, but I then work with people like makeup artists and designers, and I let them do what they want to do, and if they ask my advice, I'll give it. When it comes down to, look, I don't look at a lot of work these days because I'm not liking what I'm seeing, because most of my favourite photographers either aren't creating because they're not on this planet anymore, or they haven't got clients that are allowing them to create their own work. They're creating commercial work to live.
That just kind of reminded me, I think not too long ago we got asked by someone saying, like, do you know of any Sydney photographers who are similar to you? And you were like, I don't follow other photographers, so I don't know.
Like the two Instagram photographers I follow mainly dead, Helmut Newton, Peter Lindbergh. I just see what comes up. But saying that, I watched an amazing thing that sort of came up in one of my feeds, and it was Nick Knight shooting amazing flower arrangements with an iPhone, and he was shooting them in his kitchen, and then he was using AI programs to over sharpen them and take them up to 2 meters high and selling them for $1 trillion in art galleries, and it was amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed watching that. Not that I would ever do it, but I really enjoyed how he was using technology to create incredible art that nobody else was doing.
Is there any updated rumours with Focus being released for other systems? Eric
and
wants
at this
to
stage,
tether.
I wish.
Yeah.
I spoke to somebody pretty high up in Hasselblad the other day saying that when Perry was the CEO, it was going to happen. Who knows what's happening now? I really wish they would. The Hasselblad, if they did that, it'd be enough to get their company kicking so they could come out with a square format, square digital camera, like the old Hasselblad square.
Oh my God, I'm definitely having a drink. Becca's gained weight. I know I have, okay? Isolation has not been kind. I've been drinking too much and I've gained weight, okay, guys?
She has not gained weight, she's still stick skinny.
I've gained weight and I'm having a drink about it.
You haven't left me a question now.
Oh, someone said that they like watching me, but they like listening to you, but they wouldn't want to hear your voice through me.
So, well, do you want me to put my hand in Beck's back and use her as a puppet? We can have a mannequin.
Do you want this?
No, it's all right. You can look like the alcoholic in this room.
I am. It's
I
fine.
have to work afterwards.
Oh, that's right. You have to shoot. I don't. Let's stay out of the US. It's not safe.
I'd rather be in the US and not safe than be here and locked into a room with Beck.
Oh, thanks. Where is Victoria in comparison to Australia? We're down the bottom. Not as far down as Tasmania is a little island that everyone forgets about, and then we're just like...
Is Tasmania part of Australia?
Yes.
I think we've been separated now. Victoria is this, it's like Mexico. They've put this big concrete wall around us and disowned us.
World's most livable city though. Yeah, we're down the bottom where it's always cold.
No, it's not. We have some of the hottest weather in the city in Australia. And the coldest.
I think the t-shirt uniform, thanks. We think, well, I think I'm really funny. Would you shoot models for their Patreon? When you shoot models for their Patreon, do they pay you, or is it more of a trade shoot?
I don't really specialise and go out there, but there's certain models that I'm happy to shoot something that they want if they're happy to shoot something
that you want.
So it's a crossover, because we have lots of, say, art nude models contact me. I'm not an art nude shooter. I don't know why people think I'm art nude, because
they see skin and they're like, oh, you must shoot
True art nude is supposed to be faceless, and it's supposed to be about curve and shape.
Yeah.
And a really good art nude photographer should be able to shoot an amazing shot with a piece of paper twisted with light, because that's basically what you should be doing. As soon as you bring a face or an emotion in, that's now becoming boudoir or soft porn or whatever you want to call it.
I think there has been that crossover and confusion of everyone saying, "Oh, I shoot art nude." It's like you are shooting soft porn. Like
I shoot stories. I shoot more fashion nude. My whole thing isn't about. I shoot nude for women, not for men.
Yeah.
So, but when it comes to, so we've got models like Stefania, if she ever wants to do something where, you know, even if we said, hey Stefania, do you want to do a video for us for Inspire or for YouTube, and I'll shoot some stuff for your Patreon. I still have a line in the sand, what will I shoot? I will not shoot porn or anything like that, but I'll shoot them some classy nudes if they want that. We did that with Domini.
Yeah.
So yeah, I shot my crazy bit with the shovel, and I shot the stuff on the bed.
And you did it in your style,
and
then
I did
you
it in her style, which was colour. And no, I haven't done that. I haven't given her that one yet, have I? So I should really give her the colour shots.
I hope she's doing okay. I miss her. She was lovely. Warren was after a round LED light and found one of the Paragus lights you had in your last video cheap, ended up buying it, hasn't used it, and he blames you for spending his money.
And I didn't even get a commission. Hang on. So hang on 1 second.
Hanging on for dear life. Did Peter ever get to meet Lindbergh? No, he didn't. He'll get really sad if I ask him that question. But
I don't know if the batteries. Yeah, last 3, 4, 5 years, I've carried around little roto lights, and I got to play with this.
Oh, maybe I put the link to the wrong one. I thought it had like a white.
It has a white one as well.
Oh, okay.
It has 2 different colours. But it's a really cool LED RGB light. I can use it as a fill light. I can use it at dropping colour gels. I find it an amazing light. I like this so much better because it's RGB. It gives me all this control, and I can now put Sony batteries into the back of it. I don't have to go around with AA's everywhere. But we are doing a tutorial on this within the next 2 weeks, aren't we?
Yeah, I need to
So I'm
find
going
out
to show how I can just go into an Airbnb and fix bad light just with one of these is just working as a fill, and there we go. Whoa. So if Beck looks at the camera prettily, see how I can just bring this fill in on her and make her look really pretty. But yeah, it gives me so much room to move. So turn that power down. It doesn't feel like when there's a lot. No, it's not.
Oh, I thought I could feel heat.
But yeah, it's just one of those, and it's got the full RGB, and I'm not going to do that now. But yeah, I'm not getting paid to review this. I only use stuff I love. If I don't like something, I won't use it. I've had
to set the record straight, Rotolight did take them to court, but it was found that they did not infringe any copyright.
Oh, that one email really has an effect on you, hasn't it? But yeah, we will be doing something on this soon because I do travel with this style of constant light for shooting out in the streets at night time, and for when that Tiziana video, which is on YouTube, shows at the end of the shoot we ran out of sunlight, and I basically hang 2 of these style of things off 2 different windows, put one cold because one was coming out of the courtyard, and one to warm which was coming from the sunset going down, to keep the shoot going for that extra half hour to finish the shoot off.
Handy dandy.
Dandy.
What do you use to print your photos?
Photos?
Yes.
I've just got an Epson printer. I can't remember what model it is.
I don't know what it is either.
I used to have 4800s. I got one of the newer ones, P something, I don't know. I'll shamelessly plug, I do use Ilford paper. I love Ilford paper, and that's something I do use. But yeah, I wish you could print more, but I'm going to fill every wall in my house soon.
Apparently Florida is not safe.
Florida.
Be glad you hit Orlando last year and not this year. I don't think Peter was glad we...
Yeah, I didn't have fun, and you made me go to theme parks.
I loved it. I loved
going
to Disneyland.
Theme parks and shoot you naked in Disneyland.
I wasn't actually naked.
Oh, look at that kid's face.
I wasn't naked.
It's that kid's face.
I wasn't naked.
I know you weren't.
Looking forward to seeing you in LA. Oh, we
can't wait to get
be
to
back
LA.
in LA.
Mexican food,
Oh,
tequila.
Yum. I want to go to actual Mexico.
And what was it called? Pinkies?
Pink's hot dogs.
Hot dogs.
Yeah. Damn, that was good.
Screaming around the streets at night on those scooters and then getting stopped by the cops.
You falling over on the scooter. I want to travel.
We miss,
Beck's got corona, yes.
I'm the boss, I've got to stay sober.
No, you can have one. I told you I offered you one.
Yeah, I'm going to have water in a minute on ice.
Yes, I'm drinking Corona. I know it's... Apparently they've gone down in price.
VBs are more expensive. A good old Victorian bitter is more expensive Coronas now.
I should go stock up. I love Coronas. You said you're shooting on the Sony A7 Mark III, but you want the S for video. What does the S afford you that you don't get on your R?
Oh, the new S I'm talking. I've got the old S, one of these cameras here is on it. I've got the S2, but they're more designed and set up for video, and the new S is going to have 10-bit. It's got everything I want. It's got every single thing I want out of my video work. It's now allows me. It's also, I'm really, really keen to see the stills off it because I think it's going to be 12 megapixel, and I'm dying to have big pixels again. Big pixels mean beautiful gradients, beautiful capturing of color, and that's what I want. Small pixels mean distortion, noise, and crap. So I'm really looking to see what the stills are like off it. It might even become my main camera for both.
Interesting. Chris hopes we can get back up to the States soon. He has all the Southern Comfort and red wine to bring to a workshop. Oh my God, it's almost like you know us too well or something. Peter, you mentioned Helmut Newton. Charles is a fan too. What do you like about his work?
His stories. Sorry, I'm just getting my iced tea.
Hopeless.
It's noisy. I didn't think tea was so noisy to pour. If you look into one of the things that Helmut Newton said in one of his, I think it was, there's an awesome series, and I think it's on YouTube, and it's a series of videos of June Newton videoing Helmut. So June had bought him a video camera for Christmas. Helmut hated it, so June decided to video him working. And it's really cool to hear him talking to his wife about, she would ask the questions and he'd answer them so much better than some stranger asking. But one of the things that was pointed out to him that his whole thing of photography was trying to take snapshots of images that happened with the rich and famous behind closed doors and you would never see. So he'd try and create a story that he could tell the whole story in one little snapshot of behind the scenes of the rich and famous and flamboyance, and there's always depth in his pictures. Like his photography is just to die for me. I love the way his blacks are black with detail. I love his use of how he used to shoot, the way he lit his pictures. But most thing I liked was his ability to have props to confuse the story, to bring your own story into a picture. So if someone was very religious, they would see a religious story within that story. If someone was very...
That's where you got that whole thing from?
Well, yeah, but I was doing it before I even heard that.
Oh.
So it was one thing, Shri, my wife and I watched the whole series, and my wife goes, "Oh my God, it's like listening to her talk about you." And that was like Shri saying...
That's cool.
Which was a bit cool, but there's something about Helmut Newton's work, and I don't get to shoot enough of my stuff with depth, although I posted a picture on Insta last night, which was bag on head.
Oh yes.
And that's my work, just random things that make you look at, you know, model with shovel against a wall.
Make you think. It makes you think. Huh? Do you use regular flashlights, or is the power output too low for you?
I'm not sure when it says. Well, on camera flasher, I do have one, but I don't use it very much, mainly because it's small. I don't like. Well, it's a style of photography I like doing, which is that paparazzi type look with it, which I'm happy. I use a the A1.
Yeah.
I used to use my Mets on my Hasselblad, big old Mets flash. And I now I've got a little side bracket that the A1 sits on. It gives me the same thing. It gives me more control over than the Mets is a bit big and clunky. It takes up too much room in the case. The batteries don't last very long. So I don't use my Mets much anymore.
Yeah. Do you think photography will still be popular in 10 years as a career, considering videography is taking off? Sure, photography will always be around, but it doesn't feel like it's going to be the same.
When photography first started, most painters were petrified they were going to lose their job.
But painters are still...
Right. There's still lots of people shooting on film.
Yeah,
there's still people doing pinhole photography. There's still people shooting large format. Maybe not as many.
Pinhole? What's pinhole?
It's like a tiniest little hole, and it's taking an image off the back wall. So they can make a whole van, put a tiny hole in a bit of cardboard in the back window, and the picture's the opposite end of the van. And it's amazing. Pinhole photography is awesome.
I'm going to Google this afterwards. I'm excited.
You can make your own pinhole camera.
Oh, that's cool. But no, I'm the hashtag not photographer. Vincent can't wait to see us in Austin. We cannot wait to go to Texas. I've never been to Texas, but I just cannot wait for all of the barbecue.
I cannot wait for Formula One and the barbecue.
I just can't barbecue.
Circuit of Americas, come on.
Barbecue though.
Barbecue, yeah.
Barbecue though.
I've just got to see if their barbecue's as good as mine.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna like take yours.
Sorry, my chopped cheese was pretty accurate without ever tasting it.
Yeah, but like Texas barbecue, I think that's just going to be off its head. David, sorry, he after he said about will photography still be popular, he said, or maybe a better question, maybe where do you think photography will be in 10 years?
Photography commercial is going down and down because cameras are getting easier and easier to take good photos, and I know the future of what's coming out in cameras where, well, even a little camera we were playing with the other day, it's pretty much got Photoshop on the back screen you can use on your finger. So there's things like that, and there's, with the whole world of electronics, there's a lot of the stuff where things like frequency separation, all those things that make a picture look good on a computer screen or an iPhone screen looks crap when you print it. Well, more and more people are only looking at on smaller screens, so you're going to get by with some pretty unprintable images, but there will always be a place for big images, and there will always be a need for someone who can tell a story. So it doesn't matter what camera you have in your hand, if you throw it at someone who can't tell a story, it doesn't matter if they've got an iPhone or a Hasselblad.
Yeah.
If someone who can tell a story, you can still say it doesn't matter if they've got an iPhone or Hasselblad, but I can tell my story. I'm more happy with my storytelling with a Hasselblad than an iPhone because it's like a tool. It feels good in my hands, and yeah.
Makes sense. Do you have any pictures from to see from your trips to LA?
Oh, yeah. It's a lot. How do I find all them? They're all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, I can most likely, while Becca's doing that, I can most likely just find one.
No, what's it going to be?
What's it going to be? You haven't seen this picture. What?
Something happened to the camera. It went black. Sorry, I fixed it.
Oh, to go flat. Did you let a camera die?
I changed it just before.
So you say.
I did.
Anybody want a good assistant?
Don't hire me.
What about a bad assistant?
I'm your gal.
Oh, so have you swapped it over? Yeah, I'm just getting a picture up, but it's not going to show till Beck comes
maybe when
back.
I changed it.
I don't know what button to push because I'm not that smart.
Maybe
I
the
just
battery
push
wasn't.
camera buttons.
Huh? What? Give me one. Do you know memento?
Do you have any LA? That was all. Have you made? No, I haven't made a book. I have a few people asking. I don't know. I'm not ready. I know people say I'll never be ready, but just give me a couple more years.
Oh no, that one went off as well. There we go. Oh, sorry.
You got right. So bring it onto this for a minute so they can see the LA picture.
Go to next scene. There we go.
There we go. So there's a picture from our last trip to LA. And yeah, that was gross. It was.
Oh, it was so
urine
stinky.
And vomit and everything. It was most disgusting.
Most of these Beck looking like she's naked, but she's not actually naked shots. I have to sit in the smelliest locations.
Times Square wasn't much better, was it?
No, that's what I mean. People don't understand my dedication.
Well, while Beck runs off and gets a battery and leaves this screen up so nobody can see me, I'll just answer other questions. What do you want to
Oh, that's right.
So I can't.
You can't?
But you need to get off this picture now. Get onto cameras again.
Hang on.
Do you know what you're doing?
I do. I just was pushing the wrong buttons. Jeff has watched almost all of the Inspire videos. You use an Otis umbrellas, natural light and bare bulb. You don't tend to use parabolics for any reason.
Well, an umbrella is a parabolic if you slide your light in and out of it.
We did that one with me using the para.
No, parabolic lights are like that. Yeah, Isn't
that thing the parabolic?
Yeah, that's the para. That's a 3.3 meter para. But any light that's shaped like that is a parabolic, and you can move the globe in and out of that to change how it works. With an umbrella, it's the same issue. If you move an umbrella in and out of the light, it changes the effect of the light. So I do use that. When we're traveling, it is very, very hard to travel with a solid parabolic reflector without an airline completely destroying it.
Airlines are so good at destroying things.
So everything we carry has to be collapsible. Now I'm trying to find a company that makes me a really nice deep dish parabolic type of reflectory thing. Like I've got a collapsible beauty dish, works fine. I want someone to come up with a nice parabolic type thing. But yeah, I love parabolics. I do use them in the studio.
It's a really fun word to say, parabolic.
Oh, Carmen.
Oh, you see, you broke it. This is...
Yeah, well, you're not asking quick enough.
Well,
we've got all these people away ahead. We should be reading
we're
the
not.
next one.
We're nearly at the bottom. Is digital black and white as good as actual black and white film?
Yes and no. They're different. I love black and white film, but sometimes, but most of the photographers that are shooting black and white film still take it into, they're scanning it and still taking it in, doing work on it. I like the convenience of digital to be able to recreate the dodging and burning more exactly on an image than what you can do in darkroom. But they're just horses for courses. So when I went to Peter Lindbergh's, I spent more time looking at his film pictures than his digital. So I enjoyed looking at them more.
Yeah.
I just wish I could do it more, but it's so time consuming, the whole process. And sometimes I need to take 200 or 300 photos to get the model. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but sometimes I got to work with a model for the first time, but I want to get a picture out of a model I've worked with for 10 times. So I need to talk a lot and just click pictures and say, this is all just rubbish bin. Get her used to the clicking the thing, and so it becomes not part of the picture.
I also think the more they hear the click, the more they are like, oh, I'm doing awesome, and then they start feeling good, and then you start to get better
pictures. Yeah, and that sort of thing I lose with film. And when I do take my film, I've done film pictures of Beck. knows how much more I slow down. You're so used to moving a bit, hearing click, 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 and all of a sudden it's nothing, 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 nothing.
But it's
nothing,
hard as well
nothing.
because you've trained me, I'm so used to like drifting, and then with film I'm like, okay, I've got to freeze.
Well, it's not so much freeze, where after we've only got 10 frames and we need to get, so this is the look we want for this frame, so it's a little bit more.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Paul has, I actually agree with Paul. He's like, figure study is shape and form, art nude is storytelling, boudoir is about sex appeal. That's
and I'm not interested in...
At least that's how he defines it. No, I completely agree with you. Martin says photography was hard to learn art, then it opened for amateurs, then the market went down, and at the end the creative people will still be there, like with paint, like with music. Gear amateurs destroy.
Yeah, it is. It's times will change, but everyone's still always after a storyteller. And I've watched some incredible movies lately that are real low budget in a way they haven't had to have all these special effects and big actors and things like that. And the pictures, the stories are just hang with me. That one I watched the other day, Midsummer.
That was a good movie. I need to finish it.
It just kept making me think the whole way through it, and I really, and then afterwards, like I'm talking about today, it had an effect on me. I'm not saying it's an amazing movie, but
I thought it was.
Because it's had an effect on me, it is an amazing movie. Whereas there was some other movie I watched the other day, which was, Invisible Man.
Oh yeah.
That left no effect on me. I couldn't even tell you. I actually started going back to my desk halfway through it to edit photos because. Yeah, and there was a couple of movies I watched recently that people have told me to watch, like Ghost Story. That is so frustrating to watch, but I keep still thinking about that movie. And Under the Skin with Scarlett Johansson's another one.
I have no idea what that is.
So frustrating to watch that movie because she just had no friggin' idea what it was about.
Still don't know what it was about.
But it just sits there, and I think that's good art. It questions you and makes you question. Anyway, that's me ranting.
Pinhole cameras make anyone a photographer. We have a local guy who makes them from recycled stuff or even things like potatoes.
Yep.
Oh, and someone said before that you can see a solar eclipse through them. I'm just fascinated. I'm going to look all this up later. Cheap assistant just had wine.
Yeah, but the wine's expensive.
Basically, but also I have a mortgage.
2 bottles an hour is pretty expensive.
I also have a mortgage, so I do need money.
You have a mortgage?
I do, a mortgage. I'm a real adult.
You.
Sometimes.
Oh, that's right, you cook now.
Yeah.
You've gone away from buying pre-cooked to actually cooking.
Oh, I bought food last night. I couldn't get my pulled pork, so I got my expensive pizza instead.
You should have stopped at Montrose on the way.
I should have.
He does good pulled pork.
I'll go tonight. Beck, if you weren't assisting, what would you be doing?
Call centre.
Yeah, well, before this, I was working in a call centre, so.
But not just a call centre. You were talking to dead people.
I wasn't talking to dead people. I was speaking to people who had just lost someone. I was speaking to
same thing.
Poor little
to partners of dead people.
to close people's I had to close people who just passed away's Telstra accounts. It was my lovely, depressing job speaking to little widows who have just lost their husband and them crying on the phone. But I don't think I could have hacked it there any longer. I was about ready to quit anyways. I don't know what I'd be doing. Probably.
I know what you'd be doing.
Sleeping.
Sleeping. Waiting for the next Ratchet and Clank PlayStation game.
Can't wait. I think I'm going to buy my own PS.
I reckon she would be. She'd get a job in a winery, tasting.
I think I'd imagine being a sommelier. That would be the dream. I don't know. That's actually a really good question. I wish I could be modelling, but I'm too old.
Too old?
Yeah.
There's no such thing as too old. Kate Moss is still modelling.
No agency's going to take me at 27.
If you're good enough, they would. Start getting better. Stop being not a model and start becoming a model. You've just got to be able to wear a pink tutu on your head with blue eyeshadow and...
Woo! Daniel likes it. Texas barbecue is beef-based. Yum. Texas Speedway has some serious G-forces for kart racing.
Yeah, I like Speedway too.
Then it's a nice little segue. What art influences do you bring into fashion?
What, sorry?
What art influences do you bring into fashion?
In my early days, I was bringing stuff like Dali and a little bit surreal. But,
I love Dali.
But now, I don't know, I wouldn't say that it's one art. I like to create silhouettes, so I like to be able to slightly blur my eyes, and that shape means a lot. What's your freaking... Oh my God, would you like another beer with that? It's really hard. I think if you have to think about things like that, you're going to fail. People say how long you've been a photographer, or how long someone's been a musician or a composer or a painter. All of that stuff really comes down to how long you've been on the planet, because different things in life will affect you and influence you and be in your memories. So certain shapes or certain colors, certain things will arouse certain emotions. So I think all of that thing is, out of all the really B-grade horror movies, all the heavy metal I used to listen to, all of the stuff I grew up with has shaped who I am as a photographer, because those things are coming out of my experiences in life are affecting the stories I tell in life. And like, there is people like Helmut Newton have had a major photography influence on me, but I think some of my favourite movies and some of my favourite music maybe had a bigger influence on who I am today.
How old is Peter and Beck? I am 27.
I'm 26. No, I'm 59. But age is just something you measure things with.
Yes, it is not important. You're as old as you feel, and I feel like I am 5 sometimes. Talking movies, any outstanding DP you are following?
No, I don't.
What's a DP?
Don't you know a director of photographer?
Oh, right.
No, not really. I don't really look even at that. I've seen heaps of movies that I absolutely adore the cinematography and things like that, but I'm not one of these people that look into who they were, because you might get an amazing DP on a really shit movie, and I don't want to watch the shit movie. You might get a shit DP on an amazing story and movie. I think I pick up both, but things like Ghost Story, I love the cinematography in that to bits. There was a feeling of grief in that was so well put together. That movie we recently watched, I told you about, the greenhouses, all the...
Oh, Vivarium.
Vivarium.
That was
the
such a good
cinematography
movie.
in that was, because they made the movie feel like, what's the guy who did the apples and the top hats, that artist? Someone will know. Apples and top hats, you know, it had that feel to the whole movie. It was so clever the way that was done. And another one drove me up the wall, but I can't help but think about that movie all the time.
Vivarium?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was fantastic.
I know, but I put you onto it.
I know.
But I still said I wasn't sure, but I still keep referring back to it, so it had a big effect.
It's really good. Jeffrey said something very nice. He said
Hunter Valley, yes.
Yeah. that's all you honed in on.
I saw the Hunter Valley.
Jeffrey said something really nice. He said your shoots with the Julia are incredible. You took an Insta model who primarily plays up sex to men and turned her into an amazing woman for woman. Thank you for that.
I thank you very much for that comment. First time I shot, and the very first time I spoke with the Julia in the studio, I said, I want to create pictures that women will say you are beautiful. I'm not interested in taking pictures that men say you're beautiful. And at the end of that session, I dropped her off at a railway station with her husband, and as I'm driving away, I see her jumping up and high-fiving. She was so excited at the end of that shoot. But unfortunately, and I'm going to be careful what I say, I still don't feel, I think Julia would love to be doing more of what I do than what she does on a day-to-day.
But I think she knows that's her market, and I think that's why she...
It's not her market though. There's no, and this is something I say, think
she does
about
have
it
an
really.
amazing body, though.
I know, but think about it really carefully. Everybody who's watching this, Name me a famous men magazine model that is working today. Someone who's done all the men magazines, Playboy and that, a sex goddess.
Pam Anderson?
She's not really she was an actor, no, she doesn't do full frontal nudity, she doesn't do...
You sure? She had a sex tape on a boat.
Yeah, but that's... Paris Hilton has a sex tape.
Kim Kardashian has one.
Okay, yeah, right. Yeah, name her latest movie. Yeah, good on you. Is it Kardashian versus Kardashian? Like Kramer versus Kramer? Aren't they? That's a divorce. Anyway, but then if you go on to women and they'll name an amazing female model who's modelled for females, which means fashion and that type of thing. Claudia Schiffer's doing a massive comeback. Naomi Campbell's still going. Kate Moss is still going. Giselle's still going. They're all, right? Yeah. So there's just no market for men magazine because most men, once they've seen the girl naked, next I want to see that girl naked now. There's no long term.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're shooting for fashion and for women, women are happy to continually look at the same bods all the time, aren't you?
Especially if it's a nice one.
What movie did you watch yesterday while you were supposed to be working? With one of the most beautiful women in the world?
Oh, I watched Girl Interrupted.
Yeah, with Angelina Jolie and Brittany Murphy.
Oh, I love Brittany Murphy, R.I.P. She's so cute.
Anyway,
I know ranting again. That sounds
we're ranting,
so
missed 400 questions.
So, beer before midday? No, it is 12:05.
She just opened it to let it breathe, so it was ready to drink after 12. But it evaporated when it was open.
It did. It's really. It's the heaters. The heaters evaporated.
We're Australians. We're even worse. We're Victorians.
Yeah.
We've got an excuse to drink. It's called we're Victorians.
Yeah. Apparently Wayne is now drinking. I'm glad. I'm such a good influence on everyone. Ian said, awesome to see us live. You can say that, I mean, but is it? No, I'm joking, it is. I need to stop being so negative.
What are you being negative about?
Being like, is it good to see us though? Is it really?
Good to see, well, it's better than seeing us dead.
I would have to close your Telstra account. Okay, enough jokes. Where's a question?
Put up with your smelly body rotting next to me.
I'll get Gandalf to come eat your face.
That's all right. Gandalf's her cat, by the way.
Yes, it probably sounded really weird. Gandalf is my cat. Renee Magret is the apple with that.
Oh, yes.
There we go, at least someone knew. When it comes to manual focus, does the Milvus and Otis feel the same?
I think the only difference is with, I'm trying to think, compared the 85, I think the Otis might be a fraction slower. So with more movement, so it takes more to move to make it focus. But I didn't find the Milvus uncomfortable. Like, I didn't find anything noticeably harder with it. I found there's a big difference in Otis glass to Milvus glass. That's why the price is so different. But if I couldn't afford Otis, I would definitely own Milvus because the glass is still amazing. It's just that you can't. There's a reason something costs so much. To make something 10% better, it can cost 80% more to create that 10%. So it's like a Ferrari is so much more expensive than, say, a Mustang. But if you go comparably how much better, it might only be 20% better, but the price is a hell of a lot difference because once you get something to a point, it costs a hell of a lot more to improve that. Just look at F1.
Actually, Jared was saying a similar thing about graphics card the other day.
Same thing, yeah. To boost up your graphics card, to make a small increase, you've got to spend a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
My boyfriend's
That's why you should buy PC. Apples.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't get a choice.
He's a weirdo who wants to build his own PC like his child.
Well, you won't give him one.
Hell no.
I don't want his favourite pub to burn down. Question for Beck. After everything has come out from the Instagram post from Jaguar Jones, I don't know who that is, but you've put in brackets inappropriate photographer. Have you ever been or heard of someone in the same position? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that photographer either. We should look on our. We have been sent a shit list of all the really dodgy photographers that most of the models we work with have access to, just to protect them. Yeah. It's only there to protect them. And Beck knows herself. She was a photographer she was going to work with, and then saw he was on the shit list. And
but he also had little asterisks next to his name, and his asterisks meant his name had been sent in more than 3 times. So I was a bit like,
no,
don't know. But luckily, I've never been in a position where I have had someone be inappropriate to me. I've been like, I think that's because of how I conduct myself.
Well, you had someone recently, and you just said no.
Well, yeah, well,
you're very strict.
I was about to. That's what I was about to say. Like, I had told this photographer beforehand, I do not do nude, and I was very strict about that. And then I got to the shoot, and he still wanted me to do something bareback, and was trying to tell me, oh, but it's not even of your front; it's like of a bareback. And I was like, no, I have told you, I do not do nude. I am not getting naked. That's not happening. So I think that's because of how I conduct myself, and I've got this shit list. And even if I'm working with a photographer for the first time. Like, I did a shoot a few weeks ago with another photographer, and
is that when you got bogged and I had to come and unbog you at like midnight in some dark forest like that you gave really crappy instructions of how to find?
It was like 6 p.m. But even before that shoot, it was a friend of a friend, and I still messaged another photographer I know to say, hey, I see you follow this guy, have you met him, do you know anything about him? I just need to do my research. So I always do research on people, I don't just throw myself into shitty situations. I think that's really important to do. I think it's really important to, and also, like, if you're unsure, bring a chaperone with you, and if the photographer says no, you can't bring someone with you, don't work with them. Like,
where did you get that line from?
Some old silly fart who takes black and white photos.
We hear lots of horror stories, don't we? Some of the stories we hear, we just say...
They break my heart, especially...
Yeah, some of the girls, the situations they let them get themselves into is just... So we try and do our most to... Little things like we do tell models that if you're ever doing a test shoot or a TFP with a photographer that you don't know, just say, can I bring a chaperone?
You don't have to bring someone,
it
just
doesn't,
ask
Just
them.
ask. And even if you say it's my boyfriend, if they say no, don't work with him, because anybody can bring a chaperone into here. We've had boyfriends, we've had mums, we just move them so they don't affect our photography, but they're still in here.
Yeah, to make them feel safe and secure, and that's the most important.
I'd feel uncomfortable with you going to someone you didn't know at all, couldn't get a reference to, and not having a chaperone.
Oh yeah, I would. But that's the thing, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I know, but you wouldn't. But other people do.
Other people do. I think that's the.
And we have heard some. I'm not going to go through them here, but some of the horror stories I've heard, like they're pretty much rape.
It's so sad.
Anyway,
it's very sad.
We'll get off that horrible subject. There's enough Weinsteins in this world.
Thanks. Do clients want prints anymore, or is everything digital now?
Everything digital. Yeah. Unless I'm shooting privately. No, in the way of...
I know,
well, it's shooting private. There's my clientele nobody knows about, which I haven't done for a good year now, which are...
Oh yeah, I'm not allowed to answer the phone if they ever call.
No, you're not. There's certain people, I am booked for very, very secretive photography, and yes, they quite often get me to retouch on site. And it gets printed on site because they can't dare to have photos seen anywhere. But that's a private world, and I am privileged to get that work. It pays very, very well, but I have to be so secretive about it. The other work is I do get people like Kiki, who, the shots that I just did, I'm doing a print for her.
Oh, okay.
So, but they're not so much, they're more, they would be a private client. Kiki is a photographer and a model. You might have seen her on one of our videos, she helped out. But she wanted a print as I did of her and her kids. So there's those occasions. But commercially, nah.
I still want to do a photo and get a print of me, my mum and my sisters.
Yeah, well, do it.
Well, we can't at the moment.
Oh, that's right.
Victoria's
You're
in
not allowed
lockdown.
to even see your own family now.
Chris said, coming from an old focus puller, he was wondering about the throw of the lens when you turn the barrel.
Yeah, the Zeiss is very much slower, and that's what I love. It allows me to really fine tune pulling in where, pulling in's the wrong word. To be able to pull off where I don't want the sharpness to be and pull in onto where I do want the sharpness to be is really important to me. And a lot of the time, some of my favorite photos, I pull the focus off the catch light in the eye because it makes those slightly out of focus eyes drag you in, even though the focus point's just in front of. But yeah, I like a long throw. I like to be able to turn a lot. If I'm shooting sport, no, 100%. Or fashion, I don't want that. But for portrait work, yeah, I love things I've got to turn like 20 times to go from one end to the other.
Yeah, Jeffrey said Claudia Schiffer in Blue Velvet.
Yeah.
It's like far away the sexiest pic ever. Yeah, I just love Claudia Schiffer. There's something about her. Black and white photographer, but YSL built the preppy woman in the 60s. Ralph killed it from then on. Their influence on Jeff's art and skill set only slightly compares to what you've done for him as an artist.
Oh, thank you.
That's nice.
That's really nice.
That's very nice.
But influencers are really important. The influencer doesn't have to be someone famous. There was an influencer, a photographer influenced me heaps, and she never became anyone. I'm not going to mention her name, but my God, I used to look up at her photos. And she was she really got nothing ever published. But the shots, don't want to say it. I'll tell you afterwards, but it's a photography you shot with. It's photography you know.
Oh, okay.
Right, but back in the old days, back when you were just a girl, 17 or something.
Just a girl. Just
you
a
know
little
what I'm talking about. We had issues with her recently. She has mental problems. She has mental's the wrong word. She has problems. Anyway, her photography just was at a completely different level because of, I think her brain was at a different level and she saw the world differently. And she could just pick up any old shit. She'd splash paint on the model. She'd have a camera half broken, covered in friggin' paint and shit, and snap off a picture and really destructively Photoshop and come out with the most amazing frickin' pictures in the world.
Finally got there, guys.
You got there. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Like and I always talk about her friggin' skill of her eye.
And just her art, the way she would create.
She seemed like she had no freaking idea, and then she'd take one freaking picture.
It would be
and it was like the world's worst photography in the world, but the image was like had this depth that nobody else got.
Models by Day, I'm sorry I don't know your name, but that is your username. When you pose the black and white shot, do you think and plan it as black and white before you press the shutter, or do you just check the laptop image and then convert it to black and white?
I've been doing black and white for long enough I can pretty much see what's going to happen when I pick whatever channel I'm going to work with. It's just one of those things, that 10,000 hour thing. If you do something long enough, you start to get sort of good at it. And
sort of.
Now I don't have to have black and white in my viewfinder to be able to see what's going to happen. I can see my problems with if I'm going to use a red, green or blue channel on this photo. Recently when we did the B10 thing, you would have seen I knew straight away without even touching the software that I need to make this red channel because I need to have a contrast, I need the skin to go white and the shadows to go black. They're just things that you learn over time, so there's no fast way. It's just the more you do something, the more you start to get a sixth sense about a process. And weird freaking walking. Sorry, I'm just looking at her daffy face as she walks in.
I'm just checking we're not too overexposed.
Too overexposed. Yeah, so there is, once you've been doing something a long time, but in my early times of continually changing from colour to black and white, and it would be normally to check a photo, so I'd do my setup, and at the finish of my setup I'd flick it to black and white to see how good my lighting was. And when I stopped switching it back to colour was when I became more a black and white photographer. And that's when I started to learn my real skills by taking the colour sense out. It really brought in the senses of how to get light to work.
Percy would like to know, a Hasselblad question. Any other differences between the H5 and the XD apart from convenience and size? Do they both have the same CMOS sensor?
Yeah, identical sensor. Like, it's identical. There is no difference. So from sensor and into processing, the whole system, all of that is identical, although they've got V3 in focus, which allows for even better work when you're talking about being perfect with, say, architectural photography, still life photography, everything that you need to have, when you want to refix perspectives, all that crap. V3 on focus is all the stuff that's in the new X. And yeah, it's to make things, everything perfect, which is not what I'm looking for in photos. So if you don't want that, you just don't go to V3. From the other side of thing, I can take a picture. I could put my 150 Hasselblad lens with an adapter onto the X and take a picture and then take it on my H6. It is identical. There is no difference. The mirrorless system on the Hasselblad, it has got a blackout time, which I still find a little bit annoying.
That's why you
but
open
I
your
just
eye.
open both eyes, so I've always got one eye can see. That would be, and I just really, because I've shot the H series so long, if I couldn't have a H series, so say they discontinue the H series and all mine died, yeah, I'd be on the X. I still have an X1. I haven't updated to an X2 for two reasons. One, I love my H. I wasn't using my X1 a lot. And the X1 still doesn't have the things on it as to why I use the Sony. And I've spoken to Hasselblad about this. I want more stuff in my viewfinder. I want my viewfinder black and white. I want to have zebraing in my viewfinder. I want all of those things. I want adjustable focus peaking. Things that I'm looking for in a mirrorless camera as to why I would be strong on. And the other thing is that there's some times where we don't want a medium format for people to jump up and down, but for things like sports or fast shooting or pouring rain or dusty environments and things like that, I don't want to take my Hasselblad into those environments. And if I drop a Sony off a cliff, yeah, all right, so I've just lost $4,000 camera and maybe hopefully not an Otis lens, but at worst I've lost $8,000. So I drop a Hasselblad off the cliff, my God, that cost me. So even though you have insurance and things, it's still, there's a place for things. I normally say that if you think of cameras like cars, we have our SUVs, we have four-wheel drives, we have our racing cars, we have all of those. Well, cameras are the same, and you can't get one car to do all jobs. You can't get one camera to do all jobs. Long answer. Next.
That's fine. That's what you'll do. It's
What's he asking?
Helmut Newton, do you think you can still do fetish photography like Helmut Newton now without being categorized as soft porn?
For art people and fashion people, 100% yes.
For regular Joes?
For the millennials and for all our socialist radical people, no, because they can't see the difference between art. They also can't watch a comedian and laugh because everything is too
political.
Somebody's going to be sensitive about that subject. Well, how can you be a comedian? We just watched that. Who was he?
Jim Jeffries.
Yeah, my God, I laugh so much. And yes, of course, every single subject is sensitive to somebody, but the whole world is sensitive to somebody.
That's it.
Rah-rah just walked in.
Yeah, so we have a rah-rah now. This person asked a question before and I forgot to answer it. Sometimes I read questions and then bank them up and then I forget to ask them.
Then you drink beer and forget.
But they did ask if we do ever go to Perth, and we went to Perth in 2018.
We don't go to Perth very often.
Yeah.
It costs a lot to travel unless we can fill. It's just not worth it. Like we go to Adelaide even less, and then Tasmania even. I only ever been to Tasmania once. It's hard to fill. We can't do it any cheaper. We'd love to be able to do it cheaper, but to put on what we put on, we pay for professional models. We want good studios.
Big studio.
And all of those things cost money. And if I can make this much a day in Victoria, why would I go to Perth and make half that amount of money a day and be away from my dogs and my family and my sim?
And your wine.
Sim. And my, no, I've still got wine.
I said your wine.
Who's that? Oh, my wife. It's our anniversary on Sunday. Oh, my God. Longest jail sentence. Like, I could have done a mass murder and not jailed as long as this. I'm still with her, aren't I?
Oh, some of your work reminds this person of Jean-Luc Sierre.
Yeah, no, cool.
Oh, I've never heard.
Compliment.
Oh, cool. Sorry, I've just never heard of
Thank
them. Guys are blown on the video. Yes, I've changed the aperture now because Peter was blowing out.
Oh, were you blowing us out?
I was.
Some assistant you are.
Lols. Peter, shoot your videos in black and white, please.
Yeah, I've done, I think, if you look at some of my Tanya's, Matisha,
There's a few black and white ones.
my Stefania, Anne, most of my videos are black and white.
Yeah.
It's only the odd, we did one of Tanya colour, and were you colour or not?
Was I colour or not? Who's the only model who makes you shoot colour?
No, the video.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's colour. Yeah, sorry, but she forces me to shoot colour. She puts this red nose on, and you can't catch her in black and white.
My red nose, my stained lips. Let's not forget my yellow.
No, come. Sass pot.
Sorry. Earlier you spoke of looking forward to A7S3's bigger pixels. In your experience, do high resolution pictures from, say, an A7R reduced to lower resolutions like 12 megapixels create a similar image?
All right. You might have noticed I don't have the A7R4 because I don't want 60 megapixel because I'm going to get less quality pixels. I'm happy with the 42. I would actually be happier with 30 or even happier with 24. And as I spoke with Hasselblad the other day, I said to them my wish list for their next H camera, if they were to do one, would only be a 40 megapixel, but full frame. Use the old full frame of what it is, and a lower megapixel so I get better quality pixels, which means I get better low light, less noise, better color, better gradients. None of you guys, I guarantee you, are using anything more than 24 megapixels. And if you are cropping in so far, it means you're a shit photographer. Put a longer lens on and take the shot. Don't crop your picture later, take your picture. And in the old days, that's what we do. We take our picture. A painter paints a canvas, so don't get a pair of scissors out and cut it later.
Yes.
So, yeah, and megapixels does not mean better. Actually, the more megapixel
Doesn't it just mean it can be blown up bigger?
It just means the resolution is bigger.
Yeah.
Nobody's printing anymore, so why do you need to blow it up?
Yeah.
And if you're only posting on 500 pics and places like that, you can get away with a 2 megapixel camera. Anyway, stop me. Get away from megapixel war. We will get 100 times better cameras if we said to every camera manufacturer that our top mark is 50 megapixels and I will buy a camera off you if you do a 20 megapixel camera.
Peter, the high megapixel hater.
I hate megapixels.
Peter, did you see some of the pictures of Vivian Mayer?
Oh, name rings a bell. I'm not sure. I'd have to look.
Sorry, he's really bad at names,
I'm
and I don't
really
know.
bad at
I don't know
names.
who that person is, so
I'll look it up after this. But yeah, the name rings a bell. But I'm really bad at names. Letters just a blur.
So horrible. Andy said he missed the stream. You didn't though. We're still here. We're still live.
It's now 4 in the morning. He just woke up.
Jeff has been dying to buy a Zeiss for his Sony. He has a 135 mil. Sorry, that's probably important. For his Sony, he has a 70-200 G Master. You shoot primes. Why?
I have a 70-200 G Master, amazing lens. Absolutely love it. Peter Lindbergh shot a lot of his stuff on a Nikon with a 70-200. It is a really, really good lens. But if I want to get that next level where I have a bit more control, I don't have models running around, I can actually set my distance off the model. 135 is one of my favorite lenses in the world, and one of my favorite lenses is the Zeiss 135 f2. They did a Milvus version, which is everything is the same as the version I have. They just had a more modern case. So yeah, the Zeiss 135 is to die for. He
has another follow-up. Will he get a different shot on a Zeiss 135 than a 70-200 at 135?
Yes, because 135 f2 will destroy his 70-200 at 135 at 2.8. Completely different look. They're both nice though. I'm not going to bag. I own both lenses. I use both lenses to Zeiss disgust. But I do love the 70-200, but I use it more as a run gun lens, something I can just throw into autofocus and move around crazy. Whereas the 135, no, I'm now on manual focus, so I can defocus or control my depth with the lens.
Eero, I hope I'm saying that right, says crop in camera is what they always try to do.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I very rarely, like
you harp on it.
Yeah, but very rarely do you ever, like I cropped Nicole's picture, but that was originally shot to be tall.
Yeah.
She leant over. So I had this extra headroom that didn't work.
Oh, it's like even the shot that you were going to post instead of the one that you did. I was like, you can't post that on Instagram. And you're like, well, obviously I'll crop it for Instagram.
For Instagram, but I ended up not doing it because I didn't want to crop it.
Yeah, and it changed the photo. So yeah. I know, I think there was one time I actually saw what you meant about the crop changing the look in the eyes.
It does. Seriously, if you want to find a picture you like that has a bit of headroom above the eyes, and do a crop, so you crop right down here, and do a before and after, and you have a look at the expression on the eyes change.
First time I saw you doing that on a workshop, I was like, I don't see any difference. And then there was one particular photo, and I was like, oh wow, that made a really big difference actually.
It does. But I see it through the lens. Where I crop it gives a different strength to the eyes. Once the eyes get close to the top, it gives a real strength. As you separate away, it takes away some of that strength.
Andy said, thank you for your Otis recommendation. He bought it and is very happy.
Thank you. Zeiss thanks you too. But yeah, look, it's a lens for life.
Yeah.
It is a lens for life. In 50 years, it'll still be an amazing lens as long as you don't get mold in it.
Try not to do that.
Don't go to Queensland.
And Chris says, did I get Rara a wine or a beer? Rara doesn't really drink that much, so.
No, she doesn't. Just lines of cocaine. She does a bit of meth. When she's in America, she does crack. She's just shaking her head at us now. We're shooting Kate Moss shit this afternoon. Yeah, prescription. Prescription drug addict only.
Oh my God, we are so inappropriate. Chris also said that thank you for the pixel talk. He was going to get the Fuji 100, but now he thinks the Fuji 50 and Zeiss lens to save money.
Yep, better deal. You don't need it. I don't need it. That's why I'm talking about selling my 100 megapixel Hasselblad. The only reason I bought it, it is full frame.
Fine, I'll get another
I don't need the 100 megapixel. It's just something I don't need. My clients don't ask for it. And now we've got programs like that gigapixel thing, which allow you to blow up stuff enormously. You don't even need it if you need to create some mega billboard. That's how Apple did those big billboards. She's nicked off.
No, I'll be back in 1 second.
Wine or beer.
Everyone was
Rara would be, I've seen her drink beer. I've never seen you drink wine. Do you drink? Yeah, I like beer, yeah. She's normally into things like stout and... Lager. She's a lager.
I like it when people don't drink wine because it means there's more for me.
I'm answering your questions.
That's
sure
cool. Wonder if Beck ever photography a model one day. Oh, would I ever get into photography? Nah. I used to. I did photography in high school.
You photograph yourself
Yeah,
all
I
the
do.
time.
Actually, before we went into Lockdown, the sequel, I had a photo shoot with one of my very
Lockdown, the sequel.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Two lock, two down. I did a photo shoot with one of my very flamboyant friends. I set up the tripod, I exposed this correctly, I did everything. It was fabulous. Anyways, I'll stop rambling.
Your boyfriend was a tripod?
No way.
Well, now I'll read the next question.
Considering getting the Hasselblad X1D, but I will be shooting mostly vintage lenses, is the electronic shutter okay to use in a fashion studio setting?
If there's any movement, no, 100% not.
Oh, that's the thing when it makes eggheads and long fingers.
Yeah, if you're using electronic shutter because of, what's that friggin' word? The name they call it when things wobble.
Warp?
Oh, no, there's a name for cameras, video, they call it, I'm hopeless. I'm brain dead at the moment. There's a thing of video, and when everything leans over when you move the camera, there's a name for it. And because of my brain deadness, no, it's not called warp. There's a name for it. I can't remember. Rolling shutter. Thank you very much. Because of the large sensor, the rolling shutter is just ridiculous. Now, we have got some of the funniest photos in the world. If the model, we actually found that with the X, we haven't done a test, but we reckon it was nearly a second after you click it, it actually takes the picture. And we're doing something recently with Rara, and every single picture was a blinky shot. And then I realized every time Rara would come up and do a pose, as soon as she hears the click, she would always blink afterwards. And then we realized that we clicked, but the photo was taken like that 1 second after and got the blink. If you move your hand with it, your hand will go so tiny with long skinny. It is the Beck's round face pictures.
My little egghead was walking.
I don't have any photos I can share with you, but yeah, it is, no. The only time I would use electronic shutter with the X, and sorry Hasselblad, you can rip me a new one, but I'm not going to lie to people, is if you're shooting set solid objects, like if you go and do landscape or things like that on a tripod where there's no movement, absolutely amazing. I have taken some great photos using very, very old lenses and that with it, and getting results, but I've had to pretty much freeze the model to get the shot. So from that side of things, if you're thinking of shooting fashion, forget it. It's not for that. It's the electronic shutter will just give you the worst distortion in the world.
Juan wants to know, speaking of mold, how do you handle your lenses to prevent them from getting it?
I live in Victoria. Mm-hmm. We don't have mold problems down here. So if you live in places like Queensland and above, humid environments, we're not really humid. We get cold, a little bit of humid in winter.
And we have to stay inside.
Yeah, look, I try and keep all my stuff as aerated, but in Melbourne it works fine. When I'm traveling, I'm just really conscious if we're in a humid environment, not to try and have it in air-conditioned environments and take it out into non-air-conditioned environments. But I, touch wood, have never had problem with any mold on my lenses. Touch wood.
Chris said on a second round, yes, it's after midday, so I don't look like
oh my God.
I don't look like a raging alcoholic now, it's fine.
Only as a half alcoholic.
It's fine.
Nail technician. Have you seen her fingers? Is she showing them?
I'm not showing them.
Show them, come on, chicken. Come on. I'm not touching your hand, show them, lift it up.
My nails have come off except for my thumb, so
She's only got thumbnails.
Can't really see them, but all my nails have
When she heard of lockdown V2,
I tried to keep them on.
And all she did was rip her fingers to shreds.
It's very sad.
It's really funny.
It's very sad. I want to get them done again.
I reckon by Monday there'll be nothing left.
I hope so. I don't want my thumbs anymore. Chris said he thought it was Friday night at the club, turned out to be rolling shutter. But yeah, apparently UV gel helps, or the UV lamp help, I think, with the mold maybe.
With the look, I haven't had to live in that environment, but I know that after my dad passed away, and he lives far north Queensland, I went up and helped Mum clean up things and found all his old camera gear, and it was completely shot. Everything was absolutely not usable. All the mold got in and ate all the copper and brass inside the lenses. It was destroyed.
That's sad.
But that's because you just put it in a box and put it in the attic. So anyway.
Jeffrey wants to know if he hired you for a week in America as a creative director with complete control of the shoot, but with his models. What's it going to cost him?
Airfares and accommodation. Pretty much that's all it takes at the moment.
Yeah, anything to get us out. Yeah.
Look, it's really hard. Like everybody else out there struggling, and this is why I hate this thing that everyone says we're all in this together. Sorry, we are not all in this together. Everybody who has government jobs are getting paid, not losing a single cent, and going to have their life the same. People like Beck and we've lost. We had a 90% calendar booked in March. So 90% of our year was booked. We only had 10% of the year free. Since that date, we've done 2 commercial paying jobs, and our calendar is empty for the rest. There's no booking on our calendar anyway. And I'm not doing a sookie, but the world has changed and we all have to find a way. And Jeff, if you want to fly me over there, we'll be there in a heartbeat. I have to shoot rah-rah this afternoon. I've got so low that I have to actually shoot with rah-rah.
She just told him to shut up. Oh my god. Speaking of, we actually should probably wrap
up the pointing questions.
So
Quickly do the last couple.
Alright, have you ever done continuous light photography?
Yeah, do it all the time, love it. I like it more than flash. Someone asked me a comment they made a comment that they felt that my natural light photos had more emotion than my flash photos, and I agreed, because with a flash, every time that flash goes off, it's reminding a person it's a photo shoot. When you're using constant light or natural light, you can get more emotive with a model, and that's why people like Helmut Newton and Peter Lindbergh did a lot of their photography with constant, and I will get there one day.
He's already says. Do you like NHL?
MHL.
NHL.
MHL. Is it a brand of whiskey? I'm not sure. You'll need to. Sorry, I'm really bad with abbreviations.
I don't know what it is. I thought maybe you.
My dyslexia doesn't work.
I thought it was
some
letters. Photography thing. I didn't know.
He'll say.
Chris lives in the southeast, and all lenses are closed in case with silica packs.
All my safes that I have my hard drives in, I have silica packs in and open them every 2 months, and then put them on heated ducts to dry out the silica packs. So yeah, I understand all that side of things.
NHL is hockey.
Hockey?
Yes.
I don't really do hockey.
It looks really barbaric from what I've seen of it.
I tried to play it at school once, ended up hitting my best friend in the head, so I didn't do that again.
You did that on purpose, don't you?
Yeah, so I love sport. And
National Hockey League.
Yeah, look, the Aussie hockey players are pretty good, I believe. They've won a few things, but I know. I watch a little bit of football, but I'm much more about things with big fucking motors in them. Cars, F1, friggin' GTE, GT3.
Jeff said that what you said wasn't an answer. Why don't we schedule a call to discuss what he means? Yes, shoot us an email.
Send us an email,
Send us an email and we can
Beck will handle you.
Do my job for once in my life. Everyone likes natural light photos.
I love Canada, so yeah, look, anything Canada versus America, especially ice hockey. Now I can watch that. Ice hockey's like, what's that fighting thing called?
It's barbaric, they like bashing each other.
What's that fighting thing called?
MMA?
MMA, yeah. Ice hockey I call is like...
Oh, UFC.
UFC.
I think UFC is MMA.
Soccer UFC.
Don't know. I love UFC though. Fun fact about that.
Formula 1 is now happening. I know, it's friggin' awesome, and I've actually really enjoyed this year compared to other years, and I'm a keen Daniel Ricciardo, and he's racing quite well, except Renault's laying down a bit, but also love Lando. And it's great to see him going well, and I can't wait for next year for Daniel and Lando to be together. I think they'll be frickin' awesome. All right.
Last one, and then we better go.
Favorite black and white film?
Yes.
I used to love Tri-X 400. I've been using, hang on a minute.
And then we got stickles, guys. It's been lovely talking to you.
And drinking beer with you guys, actually.
Well, I've got to prove I'm not lying. Where's my
You lie
other-
all the time, though.
Sorry?
You lie all the time.
I lie all the time. I've run out of that. Oh my God.
See, he's just lying.
I'm just lying. All right,
Just
so
pretending.
I've run out of one of my brands, but Polaroid,
That one.
that one.
No, that camera.
Oh, that one. Love that, but you can't freaking buy it anymore. When it comes to film, I've been using Ilford 400, the HP5, and using the FP4 25 plus 25. They're the two, they're straight out of the fridge. Why are you sniffing that?
It smells weird.
It smells like cold cardboard. Calm it. Oh my God.
Weird.
Anything that doesn't smell like wine smells weird to you. Anyway, yeah, there was another, I can't remember, there's another Polaroid film that I love, but it's now $30 a shot. If I can find it anywhere secondhand. Anyway, so I'll let you, Ilford paper.
Chris said to have a great shoot.
Yes, definitely love Ilford paper.
I'm sure Peter will have a great shoot with
planner. Love that lens, 100% 135 f2.8.
What do you use to archive your favourite photos?
Archive them digitally, they're everywhere. I have it on at least 5 different. My processed folder, which is my fully processed finish, is in at least 5 different drives. Beck knows because, yeah, they're everywhere. I protect them like gold. Clouds, I should really put maybe my archive on the cloud as well, which we might do soon since we've got nothing else to do.
Okay. And what camera do you shoot film last one, and then we got to go?
If I'm shooting film, I've got my 503 Hasselblad, I've got my Mamiya Hubby, whatever, it's a year since I've used it, and I've got my film back that goes on the back of my Hasselblad. I've got a old Zeiss fold out, which I haven't put film in there yet. We bought it in London, remember?
Oh, the one got from market.
Whatever it's called, which is, I've just got to put film in it and give it a try, but yeah, that's what I use.
Wrought.
Wrought.
And Loxia lenses, yeah, you have one.
Yeah, I have 3 or 4 of the Loxia lenses are great. I really like them for manual focus on video. I use them a lot on video. Or if I'm traveling, have to go really light, I'll stick the Loxia lenses in over my Otis because they're so small and so light, I could backpack it to somewhere.
Handy. Well, I
Best wishes.
Very sorry, guys, but we have to cut this off because Peter's got to shoot with Rara, who is sitting over here patiently waiting for
With
us.
her hair in curlers, posting political crap on Instagram.
But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for your questions. We will do another live soon, promise. If you are watching this after the live and you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. If I didn't answer your question, I'm very sorry. But you can always send us an email. And
we've got some cool Inspires coming up soon.
yeah, we do.
I'm editing one at the moment, which is cool.
Cool bananas. So yeah, lots of stuff to look forward to. All of that nice fluffy stuff. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Muchest loves always. Stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask.